Debate, don't hate. 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 We're gonna take you back, gonna take you way back with the positive rap. Now tell me how about that? And in a matter of fact, yo, don't believe the hype. We about to shine a light, it's about to be out of sight. The classic sound that's coming back around. It's the ultimate breakdown that you can get down to, and it's brand new just for you. So take a listen, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you back, we're gonna take you way back to the sounds of the past for the message that will last. Debate, don't hate. 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 Say debating and you say hating. Now let's get to it, no hesitating. Come on, let's debate it. This hatred is faded. Now get up on the mic and tell me what you say. We came here to have a good time. We came here to free our minds. Don't leave that negativity behind, 'cause it's a celebration of life. We're gonna take you back, gonna take you way back with a positive rap. Now tell me how about that? And in a matter of fact, yo, don't believe the hype. We about to shine a light, it's about to be out of sight. The classic sound that's coming back around. It's the ultimate breakdown that you can get down to, and it's brand new just for you. So take a listen, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take you back. We're gonna take you way back to the sounds of the past with the message that will last. Debate, don't hate. Debate, don't hate. Debate, don't hate. Debate, don't hate. Debate, yo, I say debating and you say hating. Now let's get to it, no hesitating. Come on, let's debate it. This hatred is faded. Now get up on the mic and tell me what you're saying. We came here to have a good time. We came here to free our minds. Don't leave that negativity behind, 'cause it's a celebration of life. Don't hate.
Yeah, Murray, got the world in a spin. Blades in my hand, got the world in a spin. Javon's knife flicks, let the show begin. Every move sharp like the edge I hold. Stories untold, sharper than gold. Flick life, twist life, every frame tight. Knives on the screen, cutting through the night. Subscribers piling up like stacks on stacks. Javon's in the zone, ain't no turning back. Clicks and views, yeah, they fly like sparks. Knives in the dark, carving out my mark. From ballad songs, flipping to the sickest tricks. Javon's knife flicks, where legends are lit. Every video's fresh like a polished blade. Precision and grind, that's how dreams get paid. Cutting through limits, breaking the streak. Javon on the rise, every fan's heartbeat. From tutorials fire to unboxings insane. Content so slick, you won't leave the lane. Blood, sweat, crips stealing every flick. And Javon's world sharp is the only pick. Flick life, twist life, every frame tight. Knives on the screen, cutting through the night. Subscribers piling up like stacks on stacks. Javon's in the zone, ain't no turning back.
Went out because we only had a little bit. But are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Javon's weirdness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke 'em, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him up a few. He's getting higher on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch Juvon's witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know?
Lights go dark, the stream comes on. Javon's here, the vibe is strong. Click and clack, the steel in sight. Every edge sharpened, Friday night.
Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight. Handles spin and edges glide. Friday night flicks worldwide.
The craft with steady flow, steel and story you'll wanna know. Flick of the wrist, how smooth it goes. Every frame a master show.
Night flicks dance under the light. Blades that shine and cut so tight.
There's something very unusual going on at Taco Bell. Something you wouldn't expect. We're making pizza. Mexican pizza. It's like pizza, but it's different. With a crispier double tortilla crust, ground beef, and 2 kinds of cheese. More fresh ingredients. And it's made for one person. Mexican pizza. Maybe you wouldn't expect it from an ordinary fast food place. But at Taco Bell, you...
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
I forgot to hit the no loop. What's up, guys? That was almost a seamless intro, but I forgot to unloop it. Can everybody hear me okay? Can y'all see me okay? Are we all together here? Happy Friday. Happy Friday Night Flicks. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week and getting ready to ease into their weekends. I'm about to go up here and do some hellos here in just a second. And guys, ever since I downloaded that, I just didn't have time today. Today's been crazy. I won't even bore you with it. But I'm getting hit with all these Yokiro Taco Bell commercials on my YouTube. And I forgot how many and how long that little chihuahua was around. So expect more of those. Who's in here? Let's say hey to people that got here early and run down real quick. If I miss you, it's only because I'm going speedy. We got channel member Marcos. We got Miss Kathleen Smith, channel member. Henry G, channel member. Thank you, buddy. We got Brother Angelo is in the house. Ground Fog, the legend, is in the house. Howdy, hey, man. Good to see you, buddy. We have got, scrolling, Brother B Shady. One of the coolest posters on Instagram, as I'll say every time when I introduce him. I just think of him that way. Channel member, good to see you, man. And welcome all of you. Tonight we'll be talking about knives. We'll be talking about lies, and we'll be talking about random stuff that gets brought up. There's no telling. We got Marco Scamma, who's going to be hanging out in the background, who I always love to see. One of my favorite humans. Y'all are all great humans, but Marco's, and I've talked several times. Crazy Roach, channel member, what is up, brother? But yeah, good to see you, Marcos. I hope everything's going well, my man. We've got, I think that's where we're caught up to. Richard, brother Richard Hopkins, the man, the myth, the legend. Got a package from Richard yesterday that's going to have some stuff for giveaways. So Richard's just huge. He supplies you guys and me with a lot of stuff to pass along. I really enjoy it. He enjoys it. I want to know that you guys know it comes from him. So he's got me another box of cool little knives. And these are kind of smaller, and I've still got some of the bigger ones. I'm just waiting for boxes. I've got one box now from Richard's box. And I got my monthly stuff from Kaiser, which I haven't opened yet. It came in a mini trash bag with just boxes thrown in it. It was bizarre. So it didn't come. I thought it would come with the box. Usually it comes wrapped up, but I need to collect some nice size boxes. The big boxes get expensive to ship. It gets kind of crazy. But that's just me rambling. 1931 Leatherworks Tactical Terry is in the house. This was the only knife on Tuesday Night Live. I put some others that had come in that I felt needed, but this is the main focus. And there's going to be another video. There's another Brett. This is a tester. This is a knife I've literally been, and I'll take it out, been beating the shit out of, cutting stuff with, trying to get my edge right because I put an edge on it, and it was first edge was not perfect. There were a couple of areas near the heel and near the tip that I needed to work on. So I got some lubrication for my stone, and this little guy is fantastic. But I've got another one coming in that's going to be sent out to a couple of people to look at that wanted to look at it, reviewers. But that's when I'm going to talk about what it is, dimensions, give the lowdown. These are made by Edgy American Blades, Shane. They're Magna Cut right now. They're 64, 65 HRC. They're 6 inches. They're small. But again, if you wanted something bigger, you just talk to Shane. He's a custom knife maker. I'm sure this could be stretched out, but we'll talk about it in a second. TKL sent me a couple of knives, one of which is now the scariest knife in my collection. I used to say that one that had the upside down ground was the scariest knife. This one is the Guardian. So it's got a primary bevel, thick bevel, 30 degrees per side. Got a bevel on the front reverse tanto, 30 degrees per side, 60 inclusive. And if you look at that swedge to about right here up, it has got a 60 degree, 30 degree per side bevel. So it is a piercer extreme. And something I'm going to show you guys in a little while, TKL has an extended grip option now that you can order a set of G10 scales that I've got right here that I'll show you how easy they are to put it on to extend this grip by about an inch. Not everybody likes a smaller combat knife, right? Somebody wants a more full grip. It's very similar to what they've done on the small version. They're now offering it, and I'll show you. I'll show you without putting it on, to give you a little idea. So this is an extended grip. And you'll see that it's got this little jag out because the tang is going to sit right here. And then these two pieces are going to come together. So it basically gives you that much more grip. And we were going to put it on later in the show, and I could kind of show you what it does in terms of, you can tell now I've got a full 4-finger grip, which before I still have a full 4-finger grip, but I don't have anything sticking past. I think it's a neat way if you've got, because Tim at TKL Knives designed the bolt system, I guess you'd call it the fastener system for the handles. They're T20s. They come apart really easily. But if you look at this, when I hold these scales together, you take one of the tang bolts. There are 3 bolts in the tang. You take one of them out and you move it up. And so you're just using the existing hardware and you're extending your grip. They also have Sentry grips, which the Sentry grip is if you wanted to add a ring grip or a ring knife to one of your TKL designs. Just kind of pushing the envelope on cool stuff. I did an overview today on this knife. I didn't really unbox them because I didn't know what they were. They just came, they sat on my porch overnight. But this is a really cool knife called the Warthog. And the Warthog has the same grip pattern as the Guardian, so it fits those extended grips too. This knife is more of it's still got a tactical feel, but it was designed for the need of a knife with a bigger belly to do some slicing, cutting, game prep, vegetable slicing, work around the campfire, and still be a very tactical knife. But it's much more slicey. So, if I should say, than something thick and piercy like this. You would not want to go ham on a bunch of cardboard with this knife. But very, very cool stuff coming out of TKL. And got something cool with some other stuff from Kaiser. I don't know if y'all remember that small little wee neck knife that was a Jacob Lundquist design. They sold it as a neck knife. Looked very similar to this in this horizontal G10 2-scale pattern. Well, this is the Kaiser, always go blank on this name. Let me think. Hidden Immunity, Hidden Agenda, the Kaiser Hidden Agenda. And it is that knife, pretty much the way I can tell, just looking at it. I'm sure there are other differences, but in a full-sized mini EDC knife. It's got 360-degree jimping. So if you want to hold it like this, or if you want to hold it like this, it's a piercer, double edge, AEBL, and I want to say under 70 bones for a little self-defense. Also cutting paracord, cutting stuff. I wouldn't want to, again, break down boxes with it because it's got a high symmetry blade. If you can tell with that fuller there that it's more of a dagger than anything else. But it's very thin, very light, full tang. I've been testing it, and it's very cool. My favorite has been, I'm getting it dialed in, is this little guy. And you'll see that it's got some wear on it. But this is the fret. This is the little knife that I designed, a little 6-inch knife. That I'll have a video on one that Kyle's sharpening and show another variation in terms of the scale material. It's similar material, but different colorway. Wonderful little knife. Shane knocked it out of the park. I sent him a drawing. We looked at one that was made at Blade Show, and Shane suggested a couple of improvements that we made. One of them was taking it from a 6 3/4 inch or 7-inch knife down to a 6-inch knife, which was kind of a happy accident, but it's perfect. Especially if, Scott at Aries EDC is a lanyard master. I, for a short while, had a lanyard tied on this, which is a basic snake knot. But I'm not good with lanyards. But if you have a tight lanyard, if you have a bigger hand, it's just, to me, because of the thickness of the scales, it's just, I cut so much cardboard yesterday, and even though my edge had a couple of areas that weren't fully apex, it's apex now, it cut great, and I got no hand fatigue. So, see if I can get a coupon. It is so thin behind the edge because it's that full, tall, flat. And that's what I was looking for in a small EDC fixed blade, right? Something I could carry in my pocket. I could rip through cat food with. I could rip through packages with. I could break down cardboard with. I didn't get it to be a hard use knife, but you could definitely, feather stick enough with this knife, whittle with this knife. And I'm stoked about it. I'm curious to see what some of the other guys think about it, to check it out. Because I know it's a unique design, kind of different. But that's the fret. More to come, more information to come on the fret. I'm almost sure it's going to be done in little batches and maybe in reservations. I've got to talk to Shane about that. And he's setting up tonight for a grandbaby's party tomorrow. See Eric and Rick, what is up? So I doubt we'll see Shane. And I got to talk to Kyle because Kyle knows a lot about that. Hey, what is going on? And welcome, Woodsy. Woodsy, I would love to look at your knife and I can send it back to you within a week. I'm probably one of the fastest guys because I don't just have knives coming in. I don't answer all those emails. But yes, for small knife makers, send me an email. My email is in the bio. It's basically Javon's Knife Flicks at gmail.com. That's the best way for me to keep up with you. And I'll reach out to you tomorrow, Woodsy. But it's Javon's, just like the channel, Knife Flicks, no spaces, at gmail.com. And it's also listed in my channel. But I'd absolutely be honored to review your knife, take a look at it, talk about it, talk to you before I make any videos, and then send it right back to you. Absolutely. And thank you for thinking of the channel to offer me that. Hey, Neil McKenzie, channel member, what is up, brother? Knife Nut 69, channel member, what is happening, my man? I don't know who I've skipped because I think somehow I jumped down and I'm still not at the bottom yet. There's my brother Paul Mills. What is up, buddy? Good to see you, dude. Ed, what is up? What is up, Ed? Welcome. Welcome to Friday Night Flicks, where we're talking about knives and lives and other stuff. And y'all say hi to Woodsy, a small maker who we're going to take a look at some of his stuff. Might be super, super cool. I bet it is. YouTube Music Portal. What is up, my man? Thank you, Ed. The Fret is a neat little knife. I'm really pleased with it. And like I said, if I was just making one for me, getting Shane to make me one, I'm still going to get a Thug. I think the Thug's probably one of the most awesome designs. Hey, Dancing EDC, welcome, my friend. I think the Thug is a gorgeous, gorgeous knife, and I've handled them. I've carried some around Blade Show because we were at Blade Show together, but I've never reviewed one. I'm trying to think how many. I think they've been reviewed. When I say reviewed, you guys know my channel. I cut paper, I cut cardboard, I do very urban EDC tasks. I don't. When I say review, I'm doing more of an overview, talking about how the knife looks, how the knife feels, how the knife's fit and finishes, how it makes me feel. And when I look at Edgy American's knives, Shane's knives, I'm looking at, and when you sharpen these knives, if you like sharpening, you can really feel the heat treat. For me, it's just they're a pleasure to sharpen. Now I always struggle with tips and heels. And Kyle gives me feedback privately. And I worked on that, starting with the solution that I used on my stones, and spent probably an hour on that little small blade just because I wanted to get it right. Because I knew the geometry and the hardness and the way it was set up, it should be much slicier than I had it set up at. But all you have to do, like Kyle was saying during our live on Tuesday, is not be aware of your stone jumping, or there's several other things that can cause you to not get the edge that you think you're getting. But I use my jeweler's loop, check it all the way. I mean, took the time. And I think that's what we learned today. If you're sharpening knives, hey, Nick, lurk all you want, brother. Bama fan, what's up? Lurk, and hopefully I won't run you off out of boredom. But the trick, which is the hardest for me, I struggle with this in everything I do, is patience. And since I always say, and I actually believe that sharpening is part of something that I really enjoy doing, I need to realize not to try to rush the process. Let the process kind of come to me. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and I'll keep y'all know how that progress goes. I will tell you this, just on the side. I cut the yard yesterday, and it's the third time I've cut it since I put in my replacement carburetor, and I'm so regretful that I didn't make a video of it. Not because anybody would watch it, except for some of you guys. Because to me, I was telling my mom today, I was helping her with something. I feel accomplished, because I was so close to the first thing I tried to do was rebuild, which is more like take out the existing carburetor, clean it up, get all the gunk out of it, which there wasn't much gunk in it, which made me think there was something wrong with it. But I think it cost me, I bought filters and a spark plug, and I bought the carburetor second. I didn't buy fuel lines, and all that cost me less than $30 and did not take me a lot of time. But yeah, so the carburetor not only worked when I installed it, but it's still working like a dream. One pull starts. Just I'm thinking about doing that on the side. It might be a little premature, but market myself as a small engine repairman is one of my side hustles since I'm unemployed. Chad K, what's up? I'm forgetting who I said hey to. I think what did I say hey to Nick? I see somebody saying hey to Nick. I think I said hey to Nick. What's up, Nick? Always good to see you, buddy. Ryan Ellis is in the house, the man, the myth, the legend. The reason I was able to go to Blade Show this year, which was literally one of the best times I've had at a Blade Show, meeting Derek for real, meeting me with knives, meeting countless other people who my mind won't remember because my mind wasn't always 100% in the game at Blade Show. Another thing that was sent to me that was really cool, and I did a review on a small knife one of the two knives that I bought at Blade Show. I came home with several fixed blades because several of my partners were nice enough to let me bring some knives home to review. But there was a knife that I saw over at Concepts booth, and it was being run by other YouTubers. And I didn't, ask for a freebie. It was $40. These things list for $48. This is a tenable par, and I think it's 14 coated 14C and G10, little Jonathan Styles design, very small EDC, and it's one of the first imported EDCs that I've seen that mounts with a clip that's set up for front pocket carry or back pocket carry for me. Well, what's great about Tenable is like the Civivi to Wii or the CJRB to, is it Artisan? I don't know. But they do it even better. So this is a concept par, which is a 99 bone knife. So you got a 48 bone knife and a 99 bone knife, both that do exactly the same thing, both that cut. When I review this knife, I'm going to talk about that knife more because it's a great design by Jonathan for a small, just little EDC slicer. But this one's S35 and carbon fiber, so it just ups the materials a little bit. Still under $100. Black blade instead of that kind of coyote blade, but really, really cool. Other thing I was going to show you. And I've got my bug out on the other side. But if y'all know, those of you that watch the channel, my Benchmade Mini Adamas, I put really cool AWT scales on about 3-4 years ago because I didn't like the holes in the Adamas. I wanted it to be more of a solid knife. And a guy reached out to me, Lex Custom International. And I've since gotten to know Lex and looked into his company. He's in Sweden, and he is on Etsy, and he sells scales for the Stitch, the Mini Adamas, which these are contoured and ribbed, and the Benchmade Bug Out, which is, let me see if I can get it for you. Hold on. So that's the Benchmade Bug Out scales. You can get them in all kinds of Cerakote finishes, right? But they're real well done. A company I wasn't aware of, who almost cut my HDMI cable. I've got to be careful with that. But these, now, the Coyote would not have been my choice in color. However, it matches the writing on the blade perfectly, so I'm not mad at it. I would have rather had these be dark, but I love the ribbing on them, and I love the fact that on the Mini Adamas, they are contoured. Now, I filmed a blade install on this, and not only did it go horribly wrong and turn out to be like a 49-minute struggle bus video, but thinking back on it, and for like an addendum I should go make on it, if the blade and the washers fall out, or if I'd been thinking, I would have never taken the knife back apart. I would have just used my little tool, that little pivot tool, and I would have lined up the blade and the washers and fished them in. I've done that before. It came back to me in a dream. There was no need for me to take this knife and scales and all the way apart, because getting that bar lock in both scales with the standoffs, if you watch the video, my pain was real. And the other thing I noticed Lex does that all the other custom scales don't do, makers don't do, and I'm sure if you talked to him when you ordered these, you could get these deleted, but they are reversible. So both sets of scales that were Lex Custom International scales are right hand, left hand, as a Benchmade should be, because it's an ambidextrous knife, right? And to me, the holes don't bother me, even though I'm never going to mount it lefty. Really impressed with, and I love AWT, not taking anything away from them, but when I first got them, they were flat and they didn't have any texturing. So it was a little bit, my Adamas was a little, not slick, but it didn't feel, it's kind of like almost cut my HDMI cable again. I've got to quit doing that. Because that knife, that mini Adamas, fell. I think I've told you the story. The worst cut I've gotten in the knife game fell on my pinky. And when I say fell on my pinky, I had the blade sitting like this on my bench, and I was going to tighten the pivot, and somehow my finger was in there, and it just fell like that and bounced off of my fingernail. And I thought, woo, thank goodness it hit my fingernail. And before I could even think anymore, it was just gushing blood, because it cut clean through my fingernail and all the way through this part of my fingertip. So I thought that fingertip and that nail was going to be gone forever. So I just dumped it. I tweaked it with a little paper towel, and I dunked it in my new skin and had this glob of what looked like amber on my finger. There are knife videos of me flicking knives with people commenting, "What is on your finger?" But it just turned kind of orange, blood red, and then it fell off, and my finger was perfectly healed. It was magic. I swear by that new skin. Thanks, Paul. They do kind of have an interesting pattern. And this Lex guy, we're going to go to his Instagram, because he's a nice guy. I've not talked to him in person, but I've talked to him on a lot of different emails. It looks like DLT carries their stuff. Let me get to his social where you can see him. But they're made in Sweden, actually Stockholm, Sweden. He didn't have his Instagram listed, but I got it right here. Hold on. I've been tagging him and stuff, because he did send me those to try to put on, and I took off scales that I didn't need. I always love to do scale swaps. So those are two things I tagged him in. That is an automatic stitch, looks like. I don't know what the normal finish is on those. Those are Thai Cerakote, very cool looking, battle worn. And then he does.
What's up, buddy?
Good, buddy. You got in. You're a little bit low. Let me turn you up. I think I can hear you now.
You got me?
I got you.
Okay. So that's as loud as my mic goes.
But right now he's just doing that pattern, right? So he'll do, and I think he's just doing the MSI, the stitch, the bug out. That's him in Sweden.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Lex Custom International.
He's a really nice. I mean,
so the Swedish summer is the best. It's not.
I don't want y'all to have to listen to Swedish Summer. You're good, but I'm going to put his link in the. But it's interesting how he's doing it and what he's doing it for. You know, I think this is a Deca, it looks like to me, right? Yep, Hogue Deca V2. I mean, again, they're contoured and ribbed, except the bug out's flat. The Adamas, Mini Adamas is contoured. But yeah, just small guys starting doing some stuff. What is that? A Victorinox over on the left? Maybe with some just simple scales on it. But anyway, I'm going to drop his link in. I've got a couple of videos. I think I linked his, he's got a website and his Etsy stores where he sells to the US customers. And they took about maybe 10 days.
What are they made out of?
Titanium.
Oh, that's cool.
I think they're titanium. Let's go to the, let me just verify that. I think they're tie. I know those ones we were looking at for the stitch were tie. These are heavy. I think they're tie.
That's nice. What's up, everyone? It's Sierra, Crazy Roach, Richard.
Kyle, I don't know if you heard me earlier talking about doing my sharpening last night. Actually, about 3:30 this morning when I got my light over there, fully charged. Had my little mixture of stuff, had my alcohol and my rag, and took the time because there was a little place on the tip that was a little jagged. It was weird. And I watched some stuff that Thomas Moore. Are you familiar with him? He's a Spyderco guy. He just posts a lot of little tips that are reels. And he was showing how to work a tip. He said you can work a tip like he was fixing a bad tip, and you can work it perpendicular if you need to, as long as you keep sweeping it in between while you're working the tip. Anyway, long story short, I took my time. I did not rush it.
So you're cheating on me is what you're saying.
What's that? No. I'm just saying that's one thing. And that happened actually. I'd seen his stuff. You and I've talked about it.
I know.
Little things that came to me last night when I said, all right, I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to flip it until I feel like the heel has got an, and I'm going to use my jeweler's loop. And I'm going to, when you sharpen a knife, is your bevel distance, like from blade to whatever you measure from, is that always going to be the same width as you go around a curve, or is it supposed to get a little thinner around?
That depends on the grind of the knife. So what's up, Nick? So if you have a constant set angle, so say you're sharpening at 20 degrees, right?
Good choice.
And you have a blade and all of a sudden you get it's thin in the heel and it's thicker up toward the tip. What that means is it is ground thicker at the tip than it is the heel, so that the bevel will actually be thinner at the heel where it is a thinner material.
But you can have the same effectiveness of the apex, or do you need it
all the way across? Now you can work
that. I'm sure
adjust that and change it, but it's not necessary because it's not necessary if you want it to be
a working cutter. So as long as you apex it right.
So like so let me see if I can find one for you.
I'll show you one right here.
Well, like this. So that's a pretty consistent edge from heel
to heel.
But that's how this knife was ground. If there is, let me see if I can find another knife that, well, okay. I know, for instance,
a lot are going to have thicker points. Your Spanto, I don't think you have one of those close.
No, but I've got a Harpoon Spanto. So this one was reground, but still, even up there, the tip is going to be thicker behind the edge than it is back here. So typically, it's going to be a little bit wider bevel in the front than it would the rear, even at the same angle.
Because you're taking that thicker stock down to that lower angle.
Correct. So that's what makes the bevel wider. So you can make adjustments to get that to where the bevel is. You think that you need to.
I'm OCD in it. I mean, if you look at that,
yeah.
I mean, if you look at my heel all the way up to my tip, and I mean, I've gotten this thing.
A designed grind is, for instance, say
knife to you, but if I can get him to send me a knife to review and tell him I'm going to take a little more time with it, I would love to send you one of his knives and see what you think about his grinds. because I've seen a lot of knives, and I know he doesn't use the materials that you're super fond of. But when you see his workmanship, again, he's been doing it for over 10 years since he was a little boy for his dad. But
Who's buffering? Is it me or is it everybody or is it Javon? They're saying we're buffering.
uh-oh, who's frozen in time? Uh-oh. I feel fine. Yeah.
I see you, but I don't
Other
know.
people are buffering. So what we can do is we can move your hand, Kyle. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it could be YouTube. It could be StreamYard. I've been seeing other streams where, and they're not nice streams, but where people are whining. I saw in the YouTube group that a lot of the people there are talking about going to OBS. So maybe it is StreamYard. I personally am probably not going to OBS unless Kyle wants to figure out how we can do that. It's a free platform that's very flexible that allows you to do allegedly much more professional streams.
It's just complicated. The user interface is complicated.
It's just not as user friendly, right? And I think StreamYard for me, even though it is expensive, and they hike the prices all the time, it's just so easy in one place. I'm not going to Kick anymore because they keep coming over, and I'm seeing the dollar signs, and I'm thinking about going to be a straight Kick streamer where I promote gambling and just do, stay online for 12 hours a day. Because they dangle, it's bad seeds over there, and they're trying to attract me. So we're no longer streaming to Kick. We are streaming to no one on Rumble. We like to do that, and Twitter is a fun place to rebroadcast to, but you can only do that if you're a verified $8 to Elon a month guy. And I don't pay for verified on Instagram, where there was this little thing that popped up on my Instagram account the other day that said, you can get verified without buying the verified service if you qualify based on this, and this. So I went through the process, linked everything, sent it wasn't anything personal information, but just all the stuff showing it was me, and sent it through. And about 4 days later, I was told that this time they can't verify me, but I can still pay $8 a month through Meta Verify and be verified. And all that does is it's a little thing that shows that you're who you are. And the only reason it would help somebody like me on Instagram is there are probably 3 Javons out there with accounts right now. I've snuffed out 2. Both of them had more followers than me, and they were showing up in people's inboxes asking for shit, or trying to do giveaway shit, posing as me, using all my pictures. And I don't play that game. So I would like to have the security of nobody being able to steal my profile and try to defraud people with it. But I don't know how effective it would be. That's just have you been verified on anything, Kyle? You don't pay for any services like that, do you? Social media?
I could care less about my social media presence.
Yeah. See, I think if I reduce it to the ridiculous, as somebody who enjoys what I do, if I don't have any goals, which my goals are to grow an audience of people who like and my content will get better. I know I always say that. I will at some point get a better camera and try to do more cinematic stuff. I'm trying to do more stuff outside. It's uncomfortable to me, not something I like. So you're not going to see a lot of it, because I'll probably end up cutting my finger off. But
Sierra Rick's onto something.
Huh?
Said Sierra Rick is onto something.
Let me
highlighted
it. I won't, buddy. Hey, man, the rabbit hole is deep, dark, and wide.
What's up, bag of donuts?
Absolutely, guys.
You know who that is, don't you?
Let me put. Who's that?
Right here, the one I just highlighted.
Who's Vinny Bag of Donuts? How do you Vinny Bag of Donuts? What's up, brother, sister?
I'm not. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe that is young Iggy.
I hope it is. One of my favorite people in the world, who I got to spend a lot of time with in Atlanta, and who is just met her. It was just we all had a great time. That was hardcore, hardcore good people.
So brown sugar.
What's up, Brown Sugar? I'm gonna pull up Gonzo here and drop him.
Oh, okay. I guess it's not him. That's who I thought it was. Never mind.
It could be anybody. Hey, it's good to have you here either way.
Well, they got a wrench. So I thought that's who that was. So
If that just means they've been here enough for me to trust them and they haven't abused it because they still got it. It won't let me. StreamYard has changed, dude. When you go to share stuff, it's like it wants you to invite people. And I know it's user error. It's me clicking on stuff that's wrong, but it's just because they've moved where all the buttons are. So that's where Gonzo is, guys. Gonzo EDC.
what's
The
up,
link is
Terry?
in the chat. Go get him a follow. Good guy. Good stuff.
My apologies, Mr. Bag of Donuts. I thought you were someone else.
There's nothing wrong with that. We're all playing the game, wondering who's who here, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Space
And
Ghost.
we shouldn't dox each
Henry,
other.
Mills. Everyone else I missed. Sorry. Angelo.
Go ahead.
Javon, I will be stepping out here in probably about 10, 15 minutes when my food gets here.
No worries, buddy. Oh, I'm in Alabama, buddy. We're not far. Well, we could be far away, depending on where you are in Tennessee. What stones you got over there to the left, Kyle? Anything you're using or anything you're?
Those are alpha stones. I was working on. I had to finish up a customer's knife that went out today, and then
I'd love to get some 6-inch longer.
Getting ready.
Stones.
Getting ready to get a starting. I got a big batch of Shane's knives that I'm working on. So
I flattened all my stones earlier in the week with I bought one of the plates from Blade HQ a long time ago, the glass plate that's got the little black ring. It's a round thing, and it comes with some of that silica dust, and you mix equal parts of the dust with equal parts water, and then I'd take a pencil and do the little checker mark across my stone, and then just sit there and do it till the pencil mark came off equally everywhere, and it made a difference. They had more cut, and then I got the oil, soap, body soap, and water mixture 50, 25, 25, and went to town, man. I think it went well. Now this knife, I've scratched the above the bevel anyway, but I'm just testing with it. I'm gonna really wear it out, because I don't think the edge, now that I've sharpened it twice, I'll be surprised if it gets dull anytime soon. I'm getting ready to cut a bunch more cardboard with it, and I don't have a good place to cut rope, like unless I was holding it. I'm afraid I'd cut myself. You know how people cut stuff down on tables, like cutting boards.
yeah.
I don't really have anything that's photographable. I've got a stump that I picked up from an old tree that fell. That's
perfect.
To stab knives in, but I don't. You think that'd be good to just use to
that, or put a piece of cardboard down on top of the stump and just cut on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do something like that and just get some rope and see how it cuts. But I've got some old jeans that I could roll up. I've seen people do that. I know that's supposed to be really abrasive. But I'm trying to think what else. I mean, because what I'm going to cut with this, like I've told you guys, is basically food, cat food, packaging, clam packaging, where I have to get into crap that I buy, Amazon boxes, and probably myself a few times. I don't know what else, and maybe some wood. I think if I went camping, I would feather stick with this. I would not have a problem, because I think it would do it very well, very effectively, even though it's thin. What I wouldn't do with it is baton it.
No, it's not. That's not designed to be a
I
hard
wouldn't pry with it. Yeah.
Hey, Kathleen. It'd be shady. Yeah, that's a good EDC knife, not a
I love the
an
way,
abuser.
I love the way when Shane adjusted it, the heel is, to me, it's special. Is it buffering again, or am I late? 8:39.
I don't know. But you might be
Let me see what my YouTube stream says. Hold on, I've got the stream up over here. It should tell me. Let's go stream settings, stream health. It says the stream is healthy and excellent, but that's what YouTube says. Can we trust YouTube? I don't know.
It could have been a late chat too. She might be behind in chat.
No, it was only a couple minutes ago. So I think it's.
I meant as far as from when she was watching. It could have been a couple minutes.
True. She could have been a little bit behind. But I do when people say that, I do monitor them. This is what I was looking at. This is where it shows. It'll usually show yellow or red.
Yep.
And it shows that I've got the commercials turned off. Ads automator off. So if you get served an ad, I can't promise that YouTube doesn't serve ads anyway. I'm just not dictating that they're served. I've been in some lives lately, and they're not knife lives, that they're very aggravating because they serve ads. I want to say they're shorter than 15-minute breaks, and they're 58-second ads, and you have to wait like 30 to go to the next ad, and then about 5 or 10. I think you have to invest about 30 seconds in their little ad block before you can get through. Now, you don't fall behind in the live. You're not falling behind in the content of what they're saying, but you're falling behind in the chat. It's just, I don't get it.
Some of the long form content I watch on YouTube is like that, where it's like, it's an hour and a half video, and every 8 minutes you'll get a 15-second ad that you can't skip. I'm like, what is the point of this? But I'm not paying YouTube. Last time I looked up, YouTube wanted like $16 a month or something like that for premium.
I know I did it for a while, and it got higher than I felt comfortable paying. And the reason they do it, I understand.
I should, but
it was nice not having it. And as someone who shares videos, it's criminal that I don't pay for it. I should, most people, you should show on an advertisement. And I usually try to not share it until the ad's done, but I can understand why they're there, because I'm watching, in essence, free content.
I get it.
But at the same time, when you set up your videos, you can set up your back end to do everything consistently, like your description, how you want your ads to serve. And I've got mine there are 3 settings. There's high frequency, there's medium, and then there's like low. And it talks about, viewer experience versus revenue. I could probably make, if I changed my ad frequency from the lowest to the highest, it would probably double my ad revenue monthly. I make more ad revenue on shorts by a lot than I do on long form content. But again, nobody really watches long form content. It's only 8 minutes, but my shorts are 15 seconds. So you would think that they wouldn't get a lot unless they're getting conversions, people clicking on them. But I have no control over it, except I've set everything up on my channel to run the lowest that you can set up to have automated.
Well, when they started going to this whole, and this is with everything, when all the apps started going to subscription based versus buying apps, it made them an absolute ton of money more. And it makes sense for the business side, but I hate it because I hate trying to keep so many different subscriptions.
Oh, it's tough. Even if it's $4.99 a month, I pay for 2 apps right now that, like I said, they run my channel, Canva and Bazaar. At this point, because I'm so used to them, I couldn't really not have them, because I've got such a little simple process.
Yeah, like even so, like before, like with Amazon, you used to get with Amazon, whatever it's called, you used to get the Prime, so you would get all the Amazon Music and the shows and stuff. But now they're even serving ads and that stuff, and the music app absolutely sucks.
Oh, and exactly. I mean,
their UI is horrible, and like it's the point where like you have to pay more money now for subscription on top of what you're already getting to be able to get what you had before. It's like, I hate that stuff. So like I don't really use it anyways. I use Qobuz for music. And then I use, I don't have Netflix or that. I have Apple Plus or Apple, whatever, to Apple TV Plus.
Don't have it. I had it for a while, but got rid of it. I had the free thing. But you know me, I don't watch TV like normal people do, but go ahead.
It just, the nice thing about that is it ties in all my other things. So like I can watch all my shows through one, and I'm on the Mac ecosystem anyway, so it makes things more seamless.
Sure. I'm not knocking. I'm just saying the reason I dropped that one, and after you're finished, I'll tell you the one and only I've got, only because my daughter pirates it, but go ahead. So you got Apple?
and Amazon and a couple small ones like that. But then for that, but I don't watch regular TV much. The only time I watch regular TV is like 4 or 5 times a year, and that's during the majors. But I can watch that online.
But
sometimes.
yeah, so when you're streaming, don't some of those, I know Netflix just did boxing, but are you getting any sports through any of those services? Because I know Amazon, you can get, I know YouTube, you can get a sports package.
I have the local cable still, so I have.
So you've got access to it there.
Yeah, the like cable, they actually offer this because I don't watch a lot of TV. They offer this package where you can pick it's like 12 stations plus your local stations, and it's only like 20 or $30 a month for a TV. So I do that, and I'll just watch the local sports, or I'll watch the sports on the local channels when they broadcast them. And then if I want to watch it during a time that's on local, then I'll find it online and stream it.
Interesting. I mean, it's amazing how people's viewing habits. Because again, I was in the digital side of the cable, the big three cable world, and how they hang on to the stats of viewership. When in reality, I was the guy that was the person on their chart that they assumed still watched cable because I was of that age. But I hadn't had a cable bill in over 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that. Yeah, 10 years. Ever since I've been divorced, 11 years, I have run a broadband connection to a smart TV and really started watching. I had a Spectrum app. So when I was there, I had just like I had full cable there, right? So I could watch my sports. I wasn't watching a lot of sports, but I had access to it. I pay for Netflix every month because my daughter loves it. So she's basically, anytime I log on, which I never do, I have to triple verify to make sure it's me because they think I'm in Nashville. So I kind of do that for her. But had Hulu for a while because it came with some promotion I had. Didn't find anything there I wanted. I think Netflix won for me, even as a not much of a TV watcher, because when I was working, if somebody told me, "Oh, you need to watch the Brigingtons," I think was one about some middle-aged bunch of drama, or of the Bridgertons, or some show that somebody put me on a show. There was good content there, and what I used to say, and probably one of the reasons they look at me as an outsider, I was like, you can't, as a big cable company, unless you're producing content and you own the content and distribute it, how can you compete with a smaller company? People are like, well, how can Netflix compete? Well, Netflix is writing, directing, producing content that they own and that they're also putting in front of millions of people.
Right.
So
Same as Amazon now.
What's that?
Same as Amazon, same as Apple. They're all creating their own
But
series.
they're creating good content. Not that but they always have at least 1 or 2 good shows on their platform. Not that necessarily appeals to me, but appeals to a lot of people that make them subscribe, right?
Right.
Kind of like Joe Rogan did a lot to help Spotify subscriptions at first, which was a great service. I subscribed to it because I hated ads. I don't subscribe to it anymore. I can listen to everything I listened to before. I just have to listen to an ad. But to me, I don't have the $12 a month or whatever it was, and I don't mind the ads.
For me, it's like the reason why I don't have Netflix. They've got a good selection. Their UI is the best, but it's more of there's some morality things I don't want to support them on. So,
absolutely, you're right.
And I don't watch that many movies or TV anymore. Like I used to watch a lot of movies, but Ryan, that's because you're a dork.
You're living the dream, buddy. You're doing it because it's a choice. Remember that.
Yeah, but he eats corn dogs sideways too.
That's different.
But I'd rather spend my money on stuff that I'm actually going to use, like
Lucky Dog,
like I said, Kobuz, or like my subscription to Photoshop and Lightroom, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't have subscriptions to anything like that because I'm not creative like you are.
I'm not creative either. I just try to do what I can with what I got. But
but you had to have the desire to try to do that or the need. And so you are indeed creative. You might not be as creative as people as you view as a creative. Hey guys, Andrew Kidd's in the chat, and he's not expecting me to do this, but I did share a post for him today on Instagram. And his ranch dogs, he's got a couple back in stock in AEBL.
All right, buddy, I got to jump
All
off.
right, bud, go eat. Go
I'll be
get your
back.
food. So he's got some knives getting ready to hit the site if they haven't already hit the site. Like here's a river dog you can get right here in natural. He's got a few more coming in, but there's several of these new designs that have hit the site. This one is in 15C, 15 and 20. And I think you can either get AEBL. Those are both in stock. So if you guys are Lucky Dog knife fans like I am, several of these have come in from David. Keep in mind, these are small batch custom knives that Andrew works with David Mary Customs out of Canada. I'm going to drop the link to the knives in the chat just in case you guys are interested, because they're very, very cool. They're small. The way I can tell, and I don't know if he planned it this way, but it's almost like traditional patterns that are fixed blades instead of slip joints. And you can always reach out to Andrew if you've got a question about any of them. He's very hands-on with them. I'm sure he's got the 8 or 9 or 10 or however many he got in. He's gone through them. If you got a question about one or another, just let him know. You go to his Instagram. Share it with you too, in case you guys are DM people. Keep in mind, I'm one of those guys who is not great in my DMs. Some days I'll be very active in my DMs. Sometimes I'll be gone for a week. I mean, it's just, I just get overstimulated, I guess, for me. And you guys that know, I mean, sometimes I'll answer comments for a day and a half. Then I get overwhelmed by them. It's just a personal thing. It's a weird thing. And I apologize for it. It's not that I don't read them. I'm not aware of them. I know they're there. I would be a much more parasocial content creator if I spent more time in my comment section. But I feel like going live a few times a week. You guys can ask me anything. I'm an open book. If you've left a comment, even though I get such a small amount, most of the comments that I get are on my shorts. And I get so many of them that are ridiculous. And I don't want to get into, debates with people because I know they're just trolling. So let them troll. I should go check them, and because every now and then there'll be promotional stuff and crap like that in there, but I don't police my comments enough. That's a John problem. Javon is a slacker when it comes to that. A couple of other cool fixies that I've got since it's Fixie Friday in my world. If you like sheep's feet or a sheep's foot blade, and this is a Rife knife. I was not familiar with Rife. They're a USA-made company. I was familiar with them when I met them at Blade Show a couple of years ago, but they weren't a staple when I first got into knives. And they make kind of a hunting, EDC, hard use. These are the smallest of their knives. This is the Circaidan, Circaidan. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't even want to try to. But it has got the most comfortable, natural micarta handles that are rounded to where, I can death grip this knife and get absolutely no fatigue in my hand. It has got a wonderfully sharp, wonderfully ground Magna Cut blade. And it's a sheep's foot. They also make it in a clip point if you don't like sheep's feet or sheep's foot. But it's a very well done knife. They were nice enough to send me that and a little bit smaller knife, because they knew I was into small knives. This is their F3. So everybody's got an SE3, a such and such 3. This is the F3 from Rife Knives. This is a special edition. They did these in both blackout and in coyote out. So with a coyote handle and a coyote blade. They also do them in, I would be just as happy with a regular one, but it is also Magna Cut. It's a small bushcrafting knife. So it's not, it's an EDC knife, but it's a harder use EDC knife. It's got a sharp enough spine to strike a ferro rod, saber grind or a half flat, if you want to call it that. But it's Magna Cut. It's USA made. Very, very comfortable handle. Looks like it's been very well researched in terms of how it would be ergonomically in somebody's hand. And I'm testing it right now. I'm really enjoying it. It's a great knife. It's a harder use knife. And then this is the third. I meant to show Kyle that wicked triple grind TKL. This is a TKL Combatant V2. I had a Combatant V1. One of y'all wanted a giveaway. This is a Combatant V2. It has a little bit different sharpening choil, a little bit different jimping, but it's a great EDC knife. This knife and the TKL Raider are my favorite mid-size if I look at from strictly an EDC cutter. How good of a knife is it for putting it in my back pocket and using it for everyday stuff? Now I like smaller knives, so these guys are, and y'all might say, well, that's small, and you're right. But this one is right at 7 inches. So that's a 7-inch knife, which is kind of on the high end, which I have a lot of 7-inch knives, but it's it would be what I would consider a large to medium large EDC knife. But there's nothing wrong with that. Looking at the little concept, this guy I think is closer to 6 inches. I like that more. I prefer a 6 over a 7. But for a camp knife, I even prefer much bigger. 6 1/4. That's a 6 1/4 inch knife, but it's real thin. So that kind of, what I don't like about it is the grip's kind of short, and my natural instincts to reach up for a choil that doesn't exist. I've got to be careful about that. But the coolest one of the day, just shamelessly self-promote, is the frickin' fret that Shane made. The choil is to die for. You're not going to go up on the blade. You don't have any jimping, which is by design. It's just smooth, but you got a nice little poon there. It is tall, it is thin, and it is slicey as shit. I got a really nice finger cut Tuesday night. You can go back and watch it. Happened right before the stream ended. It was while the stream ended, actually. I couldn't get it to stop bleeding. But I spent some time on it, sharpening it last night, and I'm stoked. I'd almost like to, I need to talk to Kyle when he comes back and write down his sandpaper grits, because I think I could do a lot with these handles. Bring out some more of that color just by doing some flat sanding on them by hand. But I love this little knife. It is fantastic. And there'll be a video coming up where it kind of gives it more details, talks about how to get in, because I'm trying to figure out how to not disrupt what Shane's doing and make sure because he's got some right now that will be available, but some are spoken for. Lucky Dog, these are, and Shane's not here who made it. I want to say these are acrylic. He does some acrylic stuff. I don't know. He could tell you where he got them or if he made them. But he does micarta. He does all types of stuff. And he has a couple of suppliers that he gets his scale material from. Thanks, Paul Mills. I appreciate it, dude. What I was doing, like when I talked to Shane about it, when we were talking about it, I just wanted to design something that I like. If we don't sell any, that's fine. I've got a good knife. I know a couple people that want them. I think once somebody gets them and checks them out, they'd like them. That's why I know I'm not going to drop any names, but there are a couple that want to see it. And one of them, I'm really stoked because he does a lot of testing. And I want to see it get testing because it's at that one, I think, tested right at 65. I'm going to say 64 HRC, but Shane's hitting 65 consecutively on that MagnaCut. And that seems to be the sweet spot for it. Feels great on a sharpener. It really does. It feels great on stones. But again, I lost a little bit of my love for sharpening great heat treats when we went to Blade Show, and we had 15 knives, 2 of which did not even have starting bevels. And I sharpened for 8 hours over a 2-day period. It was brutal. And we still didn't get there. Vinny, it is there'll be a video coming out right now. It's a little knife that I don't know if Edgy American Blade Works makes the Thug, the Heathen, and a lot of other really cool knives for members of the community. He and I collaborated, and I designed a little small EDC fixie that he's making small batches, kind of to order for me. Right? It's called the Fret. It's a little 6-inch knife. It's got about 1.25 inch tall blade. It's MagnaCut, flat ground. Very, very much a laser beam type cutter, more than a hard use knife. I've got another one coming in that's got purple handles that Kyle Coonley, who was just here, sharpened. It's going to be kind of one I can show when I do the review and the launch of how to, get a reservation, talk to, get in line for one if you want one. They're not going to be a long turnaround thing. They're made right here in about an hour and 20 minutes from me. They're made in Alabama, sourced with 100% USA products, little USA made fixie. And I'm smitten with it. And then Tactical Terry, 1931 Leatherworks, we've partnered with him to do a sheath. So all of them are going to come with a sheath. I got a pocket dropper. If I'm not mistaken, you can choose to get one with a horizontal strap if you like to appendix carry. I am a pocket dropper, put it in my back pocket. I carry big knives back there. I carry small knives back there. I carried the Warthog back there today, which is a 7 3/4 inch knife. It bottomed out my pocket, which is the only thing you got to worry about when you're mounting your Ulti-Clip. And I could mount that lower, but I always like for as little of the handle to stick out as possible. It is kind of a concealed carry thing. But yeah, what is up, Ron Dobbins? How are you, buddy? We are 45 minutes away, my friend. You are not far at all. You're up there with Big Idea Design Company. I don't know if you're familiar with them. I've got their Lookout, i.e. Chattanooga. The Lookout is a fantastic knife. I think it's Brantley's the owner, is an amazing guy. They do really, really cool stuff. I was surprised I don't have any of their tie stuff out here. But one thing that I'm going to show you guys really cool here in a second is how to take a knife like this it's got a 4-inch blade because it's designed to slice game, prep food, be tactical because it's made by a retired Marine. But it has kind of a short handle. Doesn't bother me at all, but it's a shorter handle. So TKL designed these little fasteners. You basically just take a T20, stick it in there. One side's a barrel, one side's a screw. And they've got some scales that you can put on this. We're going to do that real quick. I could also put it on this one, but I like it exactly like it is. This knife is wicked. I mean, wicked. You're talking about 60 degree bevel, 30 per side, bottom, front, and the first 2/3 or the first half of the top of this spine. So this is just like a poker. It's called the Guardian. They also make one like this in a ring knife, kind of similar. Mr. Marchitas, it is tiny, but the great thing about it is it's made by Shane. So if someone liked the design, but they wanted it to be 7 inches, not 6, or they wanted it to be bigger, that could be done. So what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to grab a T20. Give me 2 seconds. All right, y'all stick with me. Can y'all see what I'm getting ready to do? What I'm getting ready to do, I'm going to take these handles off. I'm going to put these 2 scales on to make it longer. So I'm basically going to increase that handle by 1 inch. So that is a TKL Tang. This one's an AEBL. It's got that nickel boron coating. It's not a stone wash. That's an extra coating that's applied to it. They use it a lot in the PPU industry. But I want to take these hardware. We're going to bang them back together. All right. So now I've added 1 inch. Still got to see the lanyard hole in the back of it, even though those screws could be used as lanyard holes. But I think that is a very cool way to offer accessories to already very cool knives. The back end's just a little thicker. Screw holds it together. G10. Now it's a 4.5 inch grip. Right over 8.25 inch knife, where it was 7 and a little under 7.5. So that's the extended grips. And they also do a Sentry grip, which puts a ring. You know, if you like those ring knives, you can do an afterthought. I don't like the long grips personally. I knew they did it on the small Melissa, but that was successful. So they offered it for some of these. I think it's great. For me, these don't have the same grip pattern. They're a basic, just kind of a sanded out grip pattern. They've got the same, whatever you call those things there, but these are extra sticky and they're better size in my coffee. And the reason they're T20s, A, they're easier to finagle without stripping out, but B, you can get a paracord through there. So if I want that to be a lanyard hole, I can just use it as a lanyard hole. What's up, buddy?
How we doing?
We're doing good, man. How are you? See, those are hollow, so you can put a lanyard through it. I just changed out these scales and changed them back. Did you see that?
No, I was in the other room eating.
See that right there?
Okay.
That is an extended scale that TKL used to only offer on that little Melissa Backwoods knife. But it allows you to take a knife like the Swarthog that's 7.5 inches, but it's got kind of a shorter scale. It's got a 4-inch blade, and put this scale on it. And it's milled so that the end comes together. But you've in essence added that much to your handle. And you take the final tang screw and you put it right here. So it just basically gives you a larger grip. My Warren EDC I'd have to get up to get, but it's got the extended grips on it, and you'd see what I was talking about.
What's up, Cheeto? 5-door. Ellis, if you don't quit it.
What do they bring you to eat, man?
I got a burger and some macaroni salad.
I got a feeling that since we get off for Maddie, I think I'm going to bail early, not early from the stream, but as soon as we get off for Maddie, I'm going.
There's something very unusual going on at Taco Bell. Something you wouldn't expect. We're making pizza. Mexican pizza. It's like pizza.
Clarity, they haven't put olives on them in years. That's an old commercial. So picture it without olives.
There's something very unusual going on at Taco Bell. Something you wouldn't expect. We're making pizza. Mexican pizza. It's like pizza, but it's different. With a crispier double tortilla crust, ground beef, and 2 kinds of cheese. More fresh ingredients. And it's made for one person. Mexican pizza. Maybe you wouldn't.
Yep.
They haven't made any of their stuff good in years.
Well, these I've noticed because unfortunately the drive-through you're privy to a lot of that stuff if you have a utility vehicle, especially if your door's ripped off. But I've watched them; they actually make those. They've got their they'll throw the meat on there, and I think that stuff on top, because I always get mine with no beans, because I've a couple of times been surprised with beans and Mexican beans. I'm not even going to go into that rant, but I think that's either enchilada sauce or maybe it's some kind of red sauce that they put on top of it. It's not pizza sauce. It's some Mexican stuff. Man, they're so good.
Cheeto, I wish we had Del Taco here. We don't have them here.
We used to have them in South Alabama when I went to Auburn. What's up, Bluminati?
What's up, Bloomy? Yeah, Del Taco is way better than Taco Bell. Remember when Taco Bell used to actually have good nachos Bel Grande, and then they just...
Oh, yeah. I mean, Taco Bell used to be... A lot of those restaurants, let's be honest. Whoppers used to be good. Do you not think so? Well, I mean, your age, you're younger than me.
I've never been a Burger King fan.
You don't remember Burger Chef, do you? You've probably never heard of Burger Chef.
I've heard of them.
Okay. I used to go to Burger Chefs. They weren't as good as Burger Kings, but we had one in our town. The kids wanted to go there because they had this gimmick, and you should look at Burger Chef Cityscape. They had this gimmick that their burgers would come in a little box that could be turned into a house, and each one was different. And they sold these floor mats. It would like take up half your kid's bedroom, half my bedroom. And so I always wanted to go back to Burger Chef and get a burger because I'd get a little house to go on my mat. It was just a huge scam, man. I can't believe they went out of business because it worked.
Yeah, I remember some of that old stuff because like we had Del Taco when I grew up in Texas, so we had them down there. They were much better than Taco Bell.
I like a soft taco. I'm very simple. I do like, what are the little rolled things? An enchilada with the red stuff over them. I like a beef enchilada. Mexi Melt. I've had those. Those were good, but I don't like a lot of cheese. I'm not a heavy cheese guy.
Oh man, Mexi Melt
Unless
with
I'm
extra
dipping
cheese.
something in it. Now, if I'm dipping something in white cheese, that's totally different. I can eat a pail of that shit.
The
But
queso?
cheese, what's that? Yeah, I love the queso. I'm a queso. I mean, yeah.
Queso Blanco.
Have you seen the Frito stuff that comes in the jar?
No.
It's a white. No. I mean, it's by the Tostitos. Tostitos has a brand just like it. It's a competitive product. You can see it on the shelf at the grocery store. Restaurant queso is the best, a good restaurant. But if you go to your Publix or whatever your grocery store is, Tostitos makes the brand, as does, what was the other one I said? But they're white queso, and it's a jar. Fritos. So you get Fritos, or you can get, I'd go with the Tostitos. It's delicious, man. Heat it up in the microwave. That stuff is the bomb.
I get queso from the local restaurant. They'll sell it in tubs. I'm not getting. I don't want.
I can understand that. That's a bad language talking about Taco Bell because it's so non-authentic. And what's bad is I lived in Hampton Cove, which is about it's over the mountain, good 20 minutes from here. It was a pain in the ass to drive from there. It was a great house, great value, and the best part about it was it was a big bunch of subdivisions. It's where Huntsville expanded, so all the houses are newer. But there's a Walmart that was about 2 miles from my house, and on the back road that looped around the Walmart, there was this El Taquita truck that would sit there till 10:30 at night, and they had a restaurant in Hampton Cove, but they operated the taco truck too, and they had this steak quesadilla that I would get. I kid you not, every night. Because I'm one of those people that's a creature of habit. I would get one or two of these steak quesadillas, and they had this green, I want to call it a verde sauce, but I don't think that's the authentic name. I think Cheeto would throw up if I said that, but it's delicious.
Cheeto's not authentic.
No, none of us are authentic. Beef burritos, the shape of the burrito doesn't bother me at all. Every burrito I associate is a bean component. And I just can't get behind any kind of refried beans. I can eat a baked bean. The barbecue beans, no problem. But like if I talk about Mexican beans, I won't go to Taco Bell. That's how turned off I am. I could eat much better food. That's true.
I love refried beans and some good rice, just doused in guac and salsa.
See, I could have the refried, I could have the fried rice, the guac, the salsa, no sour cream anywhere close to my plate. Sour cream's a no. But
I could drink sour cream.
I would have beef on it. And beef wouldn't go on rice. So I don't even need I could just eat it without the beans. Exactly what you said. Bring me a plate of it, hold the beans. And I'm not a vegetarian. Guac ruins everything.
Oh, Terry.
I tell you, for me, sour cream is my ex used to freak out because they'd bring a glob of sour cream, and I'm not a send it back kind of guy. I'm not a troublemaker. I'm a 20% tipper at least. If they bring me a glob of sour cream and it's touched any food item on my plate, they have to take it back. I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't know what you've done to my psyche. That sour cream touched my my shit. It needs to go.
I love sour cream.
God, the name itself is so wrong.
I could eat sour cream, just a spoonful of it, and sit there and then. Yeah, I love sour cream.
What's the ideal topper that the sour cream for you would be? Would it be a Mexican product? Would it be anything?
It could be inside of, a lot of different.
Yeah, but what do you like what would you say what was the last thing you consumed with sour cream on it? Don't tell me today. I don't need a time frame because I don't want to throw up in my mouth.
It was yesterday on a quesadilla.
I love quesadillas, but sour cream, the consistency, the flavor. It's so hard to explain a flavor. I bet you that's the absolute truth here, Rick.
But see, like with Terry, I'm kind of with you on that. Like, I don't like avocados themselves because of the texture.
I like the texture.
I don't like the texture of them, but I love guacamole.
Well, guacamole's got a little onion in it, right? A little,
it's got pepper, onions, cilantro, lime juice.
Yeah, and the guac's kind of a paste. It's smashed up. Yeah. Sour cream on a potato. See, that's the one I've sent back the most. Is the potato? I've ordered the baked potato. I like cheese, bacon, big ass baked potato. You can throw chives in there. You're not going to scare me. I don't want to touch it with sour cream. Butter, ton of butter. Love butter. Butter it up. Make it drip butter out the sides. I don't want to see anything white on it.
Nice, Andrew.
But the weird thing is, one of my favorite ranch dressings, this is how weird and how old my phobia is. So sour cream is the base product of Hidden Valley Ranch dressing that you mix up from the store, like a dip, right? If you want to make a ranch dip, you buy that powder shit, you dump it in the sour cream, you stir it up. I love that dip. My mom used to serve me that dip when I was a kid, and I'd be like, I just can't walk by the kitchen. Are you getting ready to make that dip? Yeah, I'm getting ready to make it in about 5 minutes. I was like, just let me know so I don't walk by and see you touch the sour cream to it. Same with mayonnaise and tuna fish salad. I like tuna fish salad with pickles, some celery, good tuna fish salad, eggs are even good. I can eat that for days. It has mayonnaise in it. Mayonnaise is another no condiment. It's a white. I can't think of any white. I don't even like the white barbecue sauce. It's my least favorite barbecue sauce.
You don't like white gravy?
Morning biscuit gravy. Yes, you're over brown gravy by a mile. Now, on turkey or anything nighttime, like a chicken fried steak, I would choose roast beef and brown gravy over a chicken fried steak and white gravy.
Oh, sausage gravy all day, every day over everything. And see, I'm the same way with mayonnaise. I can
take care, buddy. I'm so glad you came in. I'm glad sour cream's just disgusting, buddy. Reach out to me. Be a dad. Have a great night. And I'm happy to honored to look at your knife. Look forward to talking to you, Wizzy. But I
can use spoonfuls of mayonnaise too.
Well, I think most people that work at Taco Bell, I think my specific Taco Bell, have a personal vendetta out for me. They can recognize me because my door's ripped off. And I've never had words with them, but they consistently 2 times in a row have put beans on my Mexican pizza. So tonight, when I roll through, not if I roll through, but when I roll through before said Stevie and say absolutely no beans, I might even say extra meat, but extra meat makes it not the same because you can do that for like, it used to be 50 cents. I'm sure it's more now. I used to say no beans, extra meat. But
you're giving them way too much credit. They don't think about it and they just do it. They're not smart enough to go, oh, it's that guy, give him more beans.
Well, you never know, man, because how could you fuck something up twice? I mean, granted, it was a 2-week, 3-week, maybe a month in between, but it means they mess up other orders. It's one person conveying. It goes up on a screen. If she types it in right, it goes up on a screen. No beans. It's like big letters.
They're the same kids that can't give you change back. They're not smart.
They can't draw the time on a clock, dude. I'm part of Generation X, and I'm proud of it. I think it's 46 to 60. You're in Generation X.
I don't give them any credit for messing up, or they're not smart enough to figure that out.
No, but their manager should be accountable enough to make sure that their simplest tasks, they can tie their shoes, they can work their phones. If you're employing a low wage, high turnover job, as a manager of those type of mindsets, you've got to be able to convey the basics for customer service.
I'm not
Chick-fil-A
disagreeing with
does
you.
it, and I'm not a Chick-fil-A fan. I'm not going to get into the
But-
politics of Chick-fil-A, but they're pleasant and they don't fuck they don't fuck my orders up.
But look at the quality of workers that they get. They get workers based upon what they want. If you just hire anyone off the street, then you're going to get whatever you get.
But I don't think Chick-fil-A pays more, do they?
At least they do here.
It goes to management. I don't think it does. I don't think they do. And again, so you don't make the Chick-fil-A cut. You don't make the varsity team. You go to the B team. Let's call it Taco Bell. There's a manager at Taco Bell that you're right, that probably doesn't give a shit about their job, but they shouldn't be the manager, is my point. My point is you can motivate any age or if they have the basic capacity to do something and you're a good leader, you can lead them to not fucking leave beans off a Mexican pizza.
John, you're thinking of people our age where you actually went to work
basic
to work.
Business.
No, I'm saying you're thinking of people who actually go to work. These people go to work and think that just because they show up, they're obligated to a paycheck. But this generation is different. They don't give a shit. And most of them could care less. They get fired. Oh, well, they go get another job or they figure something out. But they don't care about getting led by a manager. And most of these managers, like at these places, aren't making much more than what the people running there are making. So they don't
get that. But the managers, the failure, it could be the failure with corporate. I don't think so. The corporate puts the opportunity out there. If the manager, I know, and this was again a long time ago, but I know an Arby's manager who was a superstar who climbed his way well up the company and he didn't start in Huntsville. He may have. And Arby's used to give their, I think, their regional top manager, and it was based on customer service, not sales. Their top, and it might have been a combination of both, but their top guy got a red Corvette at the time. And this guy always had the red Corvette. And he moved up from being a manager. But the people he managed, because the part of town it was in was not great, he made these people understand. And again, not everybody was going to understand, but he didn't mind losing people.
How long ago was this, though?
Huh? It was a little while ago. It was way too long ago. But my point is, whoever's managing that place, if they don't have the aspiration to grow, and I know any food position is going to be tangential to some extent, but you can lead people if they're going to have to be there. It takes no more energy to. It actually makes your brain feel better if you're doing a correct job. If you're not having to get reprimanded or told somebody else brought an order back. There might be people now that think that's funny to have stuff brought back. I don't know, but I would think that
you're preaching to the choir, though. I mean, now, like I grew up in the restaurant business. I totally get everything you're saying. That makes sense as far as, but the turnover rate and with these kids nowadays, there are so many people looking for workers that they don't really care. Like you have these kids that are like, my local Starbucks pays $17 an hour, and they're literally morons that work in there. And it's like, okay, you go to a Taco Bell manager. Most of them have it. It's a job. They don't care if they're getting.
Taco Bell manager at my.
He's not making more than $50,000 a year.
I would not hire them. I would take a $50,000 a year job today, even though that's less than. I'm not going to say how much, but that would be pennies on a dollar. I would take it. If it was, if it was something I believed in. Now, do I believe in the food industry, fast food industry? Probably not. But my point is, somebody will say, Rick, Jack's is based on population. There's a Jack's in Arab, Alabama, 45 miles south of us, and they make great food. That's a great example. In my case, in the one in Arab, and again, it's the kids they pull from that work there. They're not paying, I know, more than anybody else. They're one of those small town restaurants, but the food is good. For what it is, because they're all working with the same frozen stuff. It's just how much attention they pay to assembling it more than anything else. It's like working a mini assembly line, right? I'm Kyle. If you're doing that kind of restaurant, now if you're doing a Applebee's, I'm sure it's a little more complicated, or a chain or a private restaurant.
Yeah, I grew up in sit-down restaurants, but my dad had Italian restaurants since before I was born. But the thing about kids now is you can't motivate the ones who are not willing to be motivated, and there's so many opportunities that for them that they don't really give two shits. They show up, and a lot of these companies are desperate for workers, so they'll take anyone they can to try to mold them to fill bodies, to fill spots,
knowing it's going to be a short-term fix.
Correct. So it's hard to sit there and say, I'm going to take this 16 to 21-year-old and try to motivate them and mold them into, when they don't care. They're just going to show up, and if you don't like it, then they're going to leave. And then you have no one to work. So it's like you get the best you can, do the best with what you got, but it sucks. And now you have to pay them so much more that it makes the managers, like I said, Taco Bell managers not making much more than what his workers are making, but he's got a guaranteed salary versus them. They just clock in, clock out. Right. But they're not, if you break it down hourly, they're not making much more than what the actual workers are making. So what motivation do they have to motivate their employees?
They have performance and customer service bonuses. At least they used to. And if the corporate took that away, that's the failure of something much bigger. And I think corporate still places compensation on performance. And that's not only cash. In industries like that, it's not just revenue based. It's also CSI, or customer satisfaction index based. And I'm sure at fast food restaurants, it's measured on returns. If they don't, there's got to be a way they can measure that.
Yeah, but so like my local Taco Bell, they're decent. They're not great, but they're decent. I had an issue, I don't know, 6 months ago. I went there one time and they messed something up, but I wasn't going directly home. So like my call to tell them, hey, you forgot to put in a whole half of my order. They're like, well, just turn around. I'm like, I can't, but so what they say, they're like, just come back in and tell them that whatever, Anthony or John, or I can't remember what his name was, said that I'm like, do I need to bring my receipt? What do I need? He's like, no, just tell them. I'm like, so anyone can just show up and be like,
They'll make it right. They'll make it right.
No, my point is, but I'm saying is for returns, like anybody could just be like, hey, yeah, I need this half of the menu. John said it's okay because he messed it up. Like, at what point do you have any tracking, or it's poor business, and I don't know. At that point, you have to sit there and look at the company and go, do they even care?
Yeah. And again, yeah, I agree with you, Kyle, because even the age of people in the boardrooms that I was around, and the decisions as they were made were more fear-based, reactionary-based, instead of proactive-based decisions. I think that probably carries over, again, from fear, but again, it's weak. We are weak.
So the expectation of what a worker is now is unreal. It's like,
good point, Kathleen.
When I grew up, it was you do everything you can to impress your boss so you don't get fired, and you get a paycheck and you're thankful for it. Now they show up, want to just be there, have attitude, not even do their job correctly, and tell you, oh, well, go find someone else if you don't like it. It's a whole different mental shift. I mean,
it really for the last 10 years, I was in a position where I started as a digital planner, which was a fine job. I'm not probably making half of what I ended up making 10 years later, but I moved up from that, right? And was performing at a very high level, over a $4 million budget that was being met. But what they did corporate, because it was a bigger company, for shareholders, is they cut the entire wing of our digital management sector. They thought that the local sales managers need to handle that knowledge transfer and those, complicated conversations. That hasn't worked out well, but still, it's what they chose to do. So it wasn't based on, they got rid of some really good people in that process. And they did it just because it made economic sense, right? It was a business decision. To me, it was short-sighted. They talked about the market changing. Yeah, but you don't just dump that information in people's head that have been selling linear television for 25, 30 years.
So what Terry said here. So like if I agree to a point with that, Terry, but my point is you're willing to do exactly what the job description says. The point I'm saying is a lot of these people aren't even willing to do the job and just expect a paycheck and don't care if they get fired. But also the next part of your thing was if they're not willing to pay extra, if they have an actual plan for a promotion plan in place
or
or
a performance-based plan,
or something along the lines of that will give you a career path guide to like, hey, you work hard towards this can move you into a different direction. Then yeah, you have to look at what the growth is, the opportunities are versus just saying what a job description is. But you're also doing exactly what they tell you to, and that's the thing. Yeah, you get paid for what you do, but a lot of people don't even do what they get paid for and expect it.
what a lot of people either don't want to do or their management's not receptive to, but I think is very valuable as someone who hires people, is bringing new ideas to the table, regardless of what you do, because it doesn't take much time if you're doing something consistently and you see that it could be done a little better. Granted, big ships don't turn quickly, but bringing that to people's attention, I think is valuable.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, for instance, my last position that I was at, that I'll talk about, was I had 60 plus employees that worked for me, and my job for them was to, like you said, motivate them, but also give them incentives, give them all the tools that they need to do their job and more, and also be a sounding board if they have questions, concerns, ideas. It wasn't just go do it and shut up. It was, yeah, I'll hear you out. That doesn't mean I'm going to implement it, but I'll listen. And that those are all welcomed thoughts. I mean, we had, not obviously the whole entire staff, but like once a quarter, I would have the entire staff in just for a recap meetings, and we would have open discussions and forums. But obviously we do that on a daily, weekly basis with my higher ups, but you have to involve them and give them the tools to succeed. And that's what a lot of managers aren't willing to do. They want to be hierarchy and this way or that way. My job isn't day to day to go over and stand over your shoulder and make sure you're doing it. Does it mean I won't sometimes and go check on you? Of course not.
Anymore. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But it just means that there's so much opportunity for the training process and motivating people through not only incentives, but like I said, growth opportunities. Do you like this industry? Do you like this field? Do you want to potentially move up? Then show that you're willing to move up, and we can see where we can move you to. But yeah, and go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and to that, both of the corporate companies I worked for last had amazing free educational programs. So if you wanted to get internationally ad certified, which is the IEB, International Ad Bureau, which is a certification you can put on your business card, they'd pay for it. And they had this internal university. So if you wanted to learn about SEO or SEM, you could take all these Google courses for free that normally cost you a shitload of money. And I took advantage of all that stuff. So for me, I looked at it not as much as income, but as education too, because I knew how much school was. And I got all my digital marketing information from either the Advanced University, which was Advanced Digital Media, or Spectrum. So getting that knowledge was valuable. You got to put a price on that.
Bluminati, I've been there, done that, buddy, too. And unfortunately, what that should equate to is whether it's direct supervisor or someone in that chain of command sees that, notices that, and uses that as an incentive to get you on a further path forward and not leave you hanging. And that should be, again, going back to their job is to give you the tools to get the job done, not expect you to do everything on your own.
I don't know if this is normal, but in our organization, the way our management, the senior management level was tiered, since it was sales, even though it was digital. I had 35 account executives, 5 offices. So those 5 offices each had a budget that totaled up to be about 4.1 million. And, you track that based on clients, based on client lists, things like that. So I'd go in to closes, I'd go in to do pitches, to do things like that. Mainly, I would just try to empower those AEs to do it, which you don't have a ton of control there. But my meeting frequency with them would probably be, I'd have calls with them weekly, but I'd have one-on-ones monthly, which really isn't enough time because most of the time they were out there running by their own, calling me when they needed me, doing what they needed to do when they needed to. But then I'd have weekly meetings with higher ups that were just, to me, seemed like time sucks. The stuff that I did, and I know certain types of projections, things like that are necessary. I totally get that. But there was a lot of redundancy in things that we did as advanced managers that to me made no revenue come in, did not generate revenue.
Yeah, but and that's so. Unfortunately, what happens unless you're in some of these positions at times, you don't realize what some of the management actually does, and
oh right,
I've worked my way up from the bottom, and so I've done all the jobs at the opportunity that I had to get to where I was, and they think that just because you're not doing what they're doing, that you're not working or whatever else. It's like, I'm doing everything that keeps everything afloat so that you can have a job. Like, I'm not in there necessarily. I mean, I will go. I'm not going to ask
fighting the big battles.
I'm not going to ask an employee to ever do something that I'm not willing to do. So I'm not going to go and be like, hey, go clean this if I'm not willing to do it myself. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be doing it on the regular because I have other things that are more pressing. And I think that gets missed a lot is the business side and the leadership side of management versus the actual work side of management.
I think what's hurt is the automation. When they integrated, which every company has a form of a customer relations management software, most of them use Salesforce or one similar, right. But the account executives under me, that was the bane of their existence because that's how they were measured, right? And you put a lot of data in for each call, which is good data to have. But if you're one of most good salespeople are very ping pong bally. They're not as thorough as you'd want them to be, but that's not what they're hired to do. They're hired basically. I used to tell people, you line up the cans, I'll knock them down.
Apparently people want to see knives, and let's talk about this.
All right. I'm going to show you still the scariest knife in my,
Richard wanted to see some of the chains. So let's see. Let me grab a couple of models.
I'm taking that to Taco Bell with me.
There we go.
That is a sick knife, dude.
All right, Richard. Let's see. You've seen this one, I think, already, but I'll show it again so you can see it. It's the Thug with the Joker.
That's a hologram Thug.
Yeah.
Is that somebody's Thug?
Yep, that one's already sold. And then,
hey, Todd Carr. Hey, Joseph S.
What's up, Toddy? Hey, Todd, I need to talk with you. Here's a full flat. This is Kathleen's Thug.
I love the color on that. That's Tiffany in black.
Tiffany in dark blue.
Dark blue. See, I'm colorblind. That's my fault.
It's multiple color blues and then a little bit of red in there.
Not to interrupt, but what color do you see there?
It's hard to see. It looked like a grayish graphite, almost like a slate blue.
That's what it is. No, I thought it was slate blue, but it's gray.
But I mean, it's hard to see from your light. Like I say, it looked like either one of those two.
Because I called it blue, and Lex told me it was gray. And okay. I told him, I'm sorry, I'm blue-green colorblind. But go ahead.
There's those two. Then there's this big boy.
God, that's gorgeous. That's the Heathen, right?
Yeah.
My Carta handles.
Yep.
And just
orange G10 liners.
And pins.
Yep. And
what's it made out of?
I'd have to go back and look. I forget.
It doesn't matter.
And then I just got repeats of some of those, and then the other ones, this big boy.
Yeah, oh yeah, that big chopper.
Yeah.
Is that tree stabbing Troy? Who's that?
Yeah, that's Troy's.
Hey, tell me this. How much damage and how stupid would it be to have a little metal punch that had like an M in it or some number where you banged in your blade steel? You would, they're too hard, aren't they?
Yeah, that would be something that needed to be etched.
Or could you bang it in before you heat treated it?
You could, but then you'd be grinding over top of it anyway, so it would come out.
So you say it needs to be etched.
It would need to be etched or engraved.
Like, I'm thinking of like Medford and some of the other.
Right, those are engraved.
They're not dyed. They're not dye whacked. They look like they're whacked in. I guess they just look that way.
And then obviously the last model I've got is the fret.
Ah, that's the one that I'm gonna roll out the fret with. That's beautiful, dude. And I know your edge is gonna be sick, even though mine's gotten more impressive.
I like the colors on this side with the blue.
I love the colors on it. And I love the fact that you've worked it. What I was going to get you to tell me while I've got my pad of paper here is the sandpaper progressions. Because what I want to do on the tester fret, just in my free time, is get some of the different sandpapers and do that flat rubbing.
So,
or do you think I shouldn't do that?
No, it can. Let me see. I also have one more here. This is a kind of a one-off. This was a joke wolf that turned into something a little bit different, and that's hollow ground too.
What color scales are those?
That's a cool little knife. That's
those
purple.
bolt-ons?
Yeah, purple and blue.
That's gorgeous. Is that that's sold too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what this one sold. So
need to make sure I'm wet sanding, Terry. Are you putting water on them, Kyle? I was watching you doing the other night on
well, so it starts off no. Because when I'm first getting them, what I'm doing is, depending upon the setup, I'm actually just flattening them and truing them. So I'm putting them on float glass and flattening the sides, the back, the top, and then going through by hand and then flattening the
which I can set the sandpaper on the plate that I do my
correct
stones on. Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, I'll go through the progression, start working my way up. And it depends on how rough they are, how true they are before what I start on. But I'll usually start on 80 or 120. Then I'll go up to
80 or 120.
Then I go up to 180, 220, somewhere in that range. It depends what I have on hand. Then from there, I go to 320, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,500, and then I've got some polishing cloth polishing paper that I use, which is 9 micron.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, 8 stages you're going through, right? Roughly.
Yeah, depending upon what it could be less. It could be.
Are you buying auto body sandpaper? I know you said you were ordering it, but for
I use woodworking sandpaper for coarse grits, and then I go into wet dry for anything above 400 grit.
So when you get to 400, you go wet dry.
Correct.
Now I know it's not ideal, but can both of these products be picked up locally at one of the super centers? Stores?
They can, but typically the quality is not going to be as good as what you can get online, and the price you're paying for locally is the convenience. So
what about Amazon?
I'd have to look on there. I typically have not ordered off there, but I don't know that. I'd have to look.
Do you know
I stick
brand
to
off the top of your head, just like one brand that you order from? One brand of sandpaper?
I like for my coarse grits, I like Klingspor or
Klings POR sandpaper. It auto-populated. Let's see if it shows on Amazon.
I use them or 3M Cubitron.
3M Cubitron. Let me pull up another window. M Cubitron. I think sanding my scales. Now they got 5-inch sanding disc. I just want sandpaper. 3M Cubitron sandpaper. Cubitron Advanced Sandpaper 150 20 pack, pro grade, non-slip, $25. 9x11 size, 20 pack. $320 here. Let me share. I didn't find the Protron.
Klingspor, you probably have to buy
The
directly from
Klingspor.
them.
So this is what Amazon has. Is this pretty good stuff?
Yeah.
The pro grade?
Yeah, the Cubitron's great sandpaper.
All right, so if we get up to 400, are we looking at a different brand?
Then I just typically just use 3M Automotive, anything above that.
So how would we search for it in to see if it's here on Amazon?
You can just type in 3M wet
Auto?
dry, or just 3M wet dry sandpaper. Terry, yeah, you definitely could do all that stuff. I'm just doing a little bit by hand to make the handles. Yeah. So any of those 3M ones are decent.
There's 600.
Yep.
See, I'd like to buy.
But see,
that's what I
even
wanted.
then-
I'd like to buy several packs of this size.
Okay, so the 9x11, you see how many
Yep.
how many sheets are in that 9x11?
5,
Okay, 5 sheets at, so that's what
682. It's like
five-
136 a piece.
right. But when you go to a local store, they're going to give you the third sheets. It's like 3 of those equals 1 sheet of that 9x11, and you'll get 5 pieces of those for $6. So they way overcharge you in person. Is what I was
So
getting.
would you use this when you were using a full sheet of this, weren't you? Or would you have it cut in half?
I do both. When I'm flattening, I'm using full sheets. When I'm working on just actual hand sanding, I'm doing it by strips. I cut it into strips.
So we saw, what was that, 600? What was there's 1,000.
Yeah, so hang on 1 second. Let me answer Terry. So Terry, yeah, you can definitely do that. I'm just doing light polishing on the handles. I'm not trying to get a true polish. I just wanted to get them to pop a little bit more. And the reason why I'm going so low is because I'm actually trimming them and flattening them before I actually go anything crazy on the sanding, because some of them needed to be squared up a little bit better. So
What'd you call the polishing stuff? Polishing?
that's
rag?
3. It's 3M. Like, hang on, I can tell you exactly what it is. I can
Polishing cloth?
Let me grab it.
Polishing pad?
No, it's
Polishing paper? I'm just reading what Amazon's kicking out. There's Zona polishing paper. Here's 3M Tri Wet Dry Polishing Abrasive Paper, 8,000. Here you go.
9 microns blue color.
I bet this is it right here. Here's a.
It's a cloth. It looks like.
Oh, it's not. Did it look like this?
It's this right here. You can see that.
Let me go back to you. You're under comment. Hold on. Okay, so it looks like what I'm sharing, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a 9x11 sheet, and it feels like cloth felt on the back. So I mean, it feels like paper.
This is 6 sheets assorted, 8.5 by 5.5.
And this is the full size sheet. It's a 8.5x11.
I wonder if that's the same material. I can't tell. It looked like it, but you can't tell from the picture.
Well, I can also tell you where I source some of my stuff from too.
I'm just to me, Amazon. I'm a Prime member, and they'll bring it to me in a couple of days.
I know. I just, unfortunately, they don't always carry.
No, they don't always carry it, but I just wonder. I bet that stuff's pretty close. I bet that's the same thing, and you use only 1 grit, right?
Yeah, just a 9 micron. Kathleen, that question. Kathleen, it depends on what I'm working on as far as what the customer wants or what the steel is. Because I typically offer 3 finishes. I do a working edge, a polish, and then a mirror. The progression goes, I'm going to start off with a coarse stone to form an apex and get everything lined up. Then I'll go to a little bit less aggressive, and then typically a third stone will be a finishing stone. But it also depends on what I'm doing. So like 2 to 3 stones will be a working edge depending upon the steel, and if I'm doing a polished edge, it'll go up to 3, 4, and then maybe 5 at the high end, and then going to a mirror, it could be anywhere up to 6, 7 stones.
Does that stuff look familiar? That's 9-micron Zona is a brand. It's not
That's
3M.
very similar. Yeah. What are they? That's how many pieces?
That is a 10 pack.
So that's
For
$2 a
19.
sheet. Yeah, I was getting mine for $1.25 a sheet.
All right, so you're getting a much better deal. I'd be paying for convenience if I didn't find a cheaper. And what brand were you getting?
That's 3M, I do believe.
That's a 9-micron one for $6.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, this is insane. But those are you're buying one sheet. You get up to these 10 microns, they're even more.
I've got the 3, the pink as well too.
But do you use it?
No, not very. I mean, very rarely. I've used it on a couple personal products, but not for this stuff.
Here's 4 packs of 10. That's $170 a piece. It's still more expensive. 99 cents. No, $99 for a box of 50. Here's the 3M.
And then also you can use for wet dry. Rhino Wet is pretty good as well too.
Rhino Wet, we'll look that up. But here's a 10 pack for 34. That's a lot more. That's $3.46 a piece, and that's probably what you're using.
Yeah, that's what I've got right there. How much is that one?
That's $3.46 a piece. That's $34 for.
It's almost 3 times what I was paying for mine.
And who's the seller? Didn't really show me who the seller is. Yeah, this PNC supply store. So what'd you call the other one? Rhino what?
It's RHYNO, Rhino Wet.
All right, then we'll go back to knives. This is kind of knives. A lot of times I just pull up shit that is all sponsored at first. I don't see any Rhino Wet, do you?
They may not have it on there, but it's typically in a red box.
What about Gator?
Gator is just
Rhino Wet. Jeez.
There you go. That one's the yellow version, but yeah, they make it whiter, or I mean red or yellow, but
$59. That's like for 50 of them.
Yeah.
$1.20 a piece.
They used to have assorted packs too, so you could get a bunch of them in 150 pack.
That's 1,000 grit though. I want a 9-micron, right?
What I'm saying,
you use them for sandpaper.
Correct. Rhino Wet for sandpaper, not for.
Gotcha for your wet dries, and stick with the 3M for the regular.
Yeah. So like the thing about it is, if you're doing it for a bunch of knives, it makes sense to invest in it. But if you're only doing it for 1 or 2, it's a lot of money to invest all the different grits.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, if you're using it for other purposes, then yeah, it's not bad. But the thing about abrasives, same as whether it be stones or belts on a grinder or whatever it is, you get what you pay for. And if you skimp on the quality of the sandpaper, it's horrible, and it loads fast. And
see, I'm not wanting to do that, but I'm not wanting to buy a bunch because I'm going to do it on one knife.
Exactly.
And nothing else.
Exactly. And that was kind of my point, was I'm saying, yeah, you could definitely do it, but if you don't want to invest the money in doing it, it'd be cheaper just, have it shipped out or.
Well, it just seems like it's got a little, it really seems like, because I used to do sanding. That's one of the dumb things that they would let me do is sand flat stop at the cabinet shop if they were busy or I was slow up front. I found it therapeutic, and there's just some areas here that look like it could be glue. But I know if I go I can go I don't have my camera on. Damn it. Hold on. I know I can go like that.
Right.
And I just one side's got some glue on it when I take a picture of it. You wouldn't have sent this one out. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just, I just know that I'm capable of doing this. So I'm not looking even for the best paper, and I don't think I'd load up even cheaper Walmart paper. Maybe I would.
And like I told you before, give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, throw different scales on it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't think I could damage them. Don't you think? I mean,
I meant if you went too aggressive and
Well, you've given me the aggressiveness. I'm not, and you know me, I'm gonna underperform. Look how long it took me to get the heel and the tip sharp on this fucking knife.
You take
I'm
your
a good
time.
slow guy.
Take your time and be fine.
Yeah. And again, that was a valuable lesson I learned last night working with this knife. And the oil makes a huge difference because I did the trick where I'd spray a drop in between and then let it clean off my stone and take my paper towel and get it off.
Yep.
And they just seem to have more bite. And maybe it was the second edge. I mean, it burred up great. And I didn't do any stropping. I just honed for a really long time with my thinner stone, at the end. Just kind of honed it smooth.
Yeah, and see, that's part of it too, is when the second edge could have helped, but also if you're keeping your stones, at least wiped down in between, they're not loaded up, they will cut faster. So even though it takes more time to wipe them off, it still saves you time as far as the number of strokes you're using.
Well, and I was doing that to keep the slurry down as much as anything, because I cleaned my stones with that barkeeper's friend after every sharpening.
Right, but I'm just meant when they when I'm sharpening, even during while I'm sharpening, my stones are loading up. Every time I'm wiping, I'm cleaning them every time I'm sharpening a knife.
And I started doing that last night.
I'm not doing a deep dive clean. I'm just literally just wiping them off, getting all
lifting the blackness off. I mean, it just literally lifts the nasty metal that's been left behind.
Correct.
And I haven't changed my 20-degree angle since I started, so it's not like I'm putting micro bevels on it or anything. And I'm surprised how accurate the system stayed and my little digital gauge has stayed. I haven't had to recalibrate it once in 3 sharpening. It stayed true at 0, and when I put the stone on, it's been exactly 20 degrees as it sat there.
Yep. Good engineering.
Very good engineering. I haven't been to their page lately. Have you?
I have not.
Let's take a look real quick, because I was going to go to DLT. I was going to go to the pages I like to look at real quick, and you keep me on the time. Oh,
we got plenty of time.
Good. I thought we did. Hey.
Yeah, Todd, that's true too. I mean, it depends on what accuracy you're looking for, I guess. And that's kind of with anything is if you're going for accuracy or consistency, then sometimes it definitely will cost a little more.
Yeah, again, and I guess the end result product, just like using a diamond stone versus a really nice bonded stone, right? You're going to get higher results. So let's look at. Looks like the website's still being updated. Here's some product of the month, 12% off. That looks like the real nice one, right?
Yeah, it's the KO300. Yep.
$692. The website.
Yeah, it's like they're keeping stocked up, but I've not heard from them. So that's.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, I saw a thing, and I don't know if it's fake news or not, but some guy who was, for some reason, was taken up. He'd gotten Russian citizenship, American guy. I don't know why he left, and he's now on the front lines. Not by choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, $341 versus $299 for a work sharp. And I like made in America stuff. I've just had and I know the precision.
Workshop's not made in America though.
No, but I'm saying it's an American company. But I'm just saying the one I had wasn't the precision, but the precision has too much plastic on it where I cannot, in any good thought or good faith, think that it's not a better value to spend $40 more bucks.
Absolutely.
And get it like that. Because it's expandable. When I first bought my Blitz, I didn't buy the Blitz 360. I bought the basic Blitz. And then I was working, so over time, I would just buy all the accessories to make it a Blitz 360. And then added clamps and other stuff that pimped it out even a little more.
Yeah, that's what you can do with the Pioneer. You can turn it into Pioneer Pro with the rack and pinion system. You can add upgraded clamps. You can do all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah, I think
you don't have to get it all at once.
And they're like 5 of these are in stock. And these are all anything that you ever order off TS Prof US, it comes out of Nashville. So I get it the next day without doing anything special. That's a good little system. I got rid of mine. But it's different in that the clamps are what changes the angle. They move up and down at angles, and the rod stays fixed, where the Pioneer and the K series, it's the rod that moves, right?
Correct.
And the one I use is this one right here. It's just got an extra height adjuster.
And that base is updated base on that too is nice.
Yeah, that base is very nice. Whoops.
But you don't necessarily need it because, I mean, hell, I've got the base that's bigger than that one and I still clamp it down to the table.
Yeah, I don't clamp. What I do is I open that one because it's like a spider. And then I lean forward because I'm sitting on my couch and I've got it on my coffee table. I know, not ideal, but I lean forward and put my hand in the middle of it just to kind of put my weight on it. It doesn't move because I'm not putting hard pressure. I did put more pressure last night and it made a difference.
Well, that's why I clamp mine down because I've got it at a desk and it's a little higher, but I also want to be able to use pressure if I want
Well, I've got the clamp. I just have never used
it.
I
mean, I use a big F clamp to clamp down the middle of this so it's locked down to the table, and then that way I can have my left hand free to do, you know, whether I'm holding on to the tip to guide it or if I'm doing other stuff. So
I wonder if that round one's better than the spider.
It's much heavier. That's the biggest difference. The big round base weighs a couple pounds. I mean, it's pretty heavy.
So it would be more stable then.
Yeah, it is for sure.
I mean, it looks like they've got +5 of everything in stock.
Yeah, see right there's that big base.
I wonder why this one's that's for the K.
No, that's for the Pioneer too.
Okay, so why is it more expensive than the ones with the graphic? Oh, it's steel, heavyweight, makes it stable. Yeah, it might be something to check out. I mean, again, mine doesn't wiggle, but I like getting stuff and checking it out. I wonder why the ones that are printed are $10 less. It looks like the same material, just with the sticker on it, doesn't it?
Could be people don't want the sticker.
Steel stand not included.
Oh, that's just a sticker. Okay.
Yeah, so you're just buying
it's a metal sticker.
Yeah, but it's $80. Fuck that. Sorry, excuse my language.
I'm not disagreeing. It's kind of expensive, but
yeah, but this is a good system. And again, you can start basic and then kind of add to it, right? And then the abrasives.
The biggest changer for me was the L brackets. L brackets are if
game changer.
They make a huge difference.
Yeah, that's this right here. It allows me to do small pocket knives like my fret. Just by instead of having to get a single clamp, which you normally would have to do, all I had to do, what in the world did I do?
The single clamp's still different than using them together, but the single clamp is pretty.
So if you got an bracket, what advantage would I get?
So it's for thinner stock knives. So
like your split joint.
Or Victorinox or that type of thing where it's super, super thin. It makes it easier for that. But again, that's kind of niche. I mean, you're spending a lot of money on a clamp for something that's very niche. If you're using it a lot, it makes sense. But like I've got one, but I don't use it that much.
This right here. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are lifesavers. They're game changers. What it allows you to do is where you've got this long bar right here. See, if you didn't have those L clamps, the closest you could get your clamps together would be about, what, 3 inches?
Oh, they're right here. I'll show you.
Okay, let me stop sharing.
I've got them on this. So where I can actually have them apart or move them all the way in so they're together.
Right, where if you didn't have the L brackets, they'd be about 2 inches or an inch separation.
So you're doing a large kitchen knife, you could take it out all the way to here, and if that's still not enough to where you want, you can flip the L's the opposite direction and give you more width. This one's What's designed for thinner, the single, and the jaws on that
Okay.
are super thin blade stock. Unfortunately, these threads here, you could get different cuts for different types of blades, but
Yeah. So if you
and
didn't
they,
have a
and they were
flat
more.
spine,
And what's that?
so if you didn't have a flat spine that you were working with,
Yeah, so
like
they
a
were
kitchen knife
more
or something?
adjustable, but the problem was, and they were affordable, but the problem was that the quality control was not very good. So
And guys, I do think that's the best value if you're looking for a small EDC knife today. The tenable par at $48 is a great little knife to see if you would actually use one, carry one, and cut with one. Because this one cuts very well. It's a U.S. designer who I don't know. I've never met Jonathan Stiles. I just like this knife. And if you want to get a nicer one, the Concept does it in S35 and carbon fiber. But to me, owning both of them, I'd be just as happy with the tenable and saving the $50. Although carbon fiber and S35 is nicer, but the sheaths are identical, which to me means everything when you're getting an EDC knife is how it carries. Sorry, Todd. I don't know what's caused it to buff because it shouldn't be restreaming. Maybe StreamYard's doing weird stuff because it's showing me here that my stream health is excellent.
he said he's having problems with everyone on YouTube tonight. So
Well, a lot of people, and it could be YouTube, and I guess it wouldn't show that maybe. That sucks though. I don't want y'all to have bad experiences. I want it to be.
it could be the YouTube servers. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it
See?
shows me we're doing good.
Well, when you first pulled it up, it was showing that it was buffering.
No, that was me. Yeah, that was my computer, I think. It showed this showed buffering over here.
No, at the very top. Because look at the very top, it's showing that you had got commented Terry's comment, but it's not on the StreamYard. You have Autumn Wind's comment up.
Let's see what's going on here. Let's let it refresh and see what it says. It always takes a long time to
There. Looks like it updated.
I wonder, does it show? I didn't see where it showed lag, and I always have to change it to all chat.
Okay, he said they're good now. They're just doing it for a minute. Yeah, Terry, when he had your comment highlighted on the screen earlier in the stream, it was showing up on the YouTube section, not on StreamYard, which is strange. So
What's weird to see all those settings, the stream settings. I have no idea what any of that means, and I've never adjusted any of them except the ads automator when I had to learn how to do that when it would serve ads. But I guess it's set to low latency, but it doesn't look like I can go in and change that. Maybe because the stream's live. What would you do if you didn't want it to buffer? What would you adjust there since it's in the middle? Would you go normal or ultra low? I'm sure.
I think it's more dependent upon YouTube's servers than your connection at this point.
You're probably right.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm gonna click on the top fans thing and see what it says. It just does that, regardless if it shows crowns or not. And all that's showing is who's chatting the most. That's weird that because I went and followed the instructions on how to turn that off and thought I had because it's not a contest.
Yeah, that's weird.
And Todd, I haven't seen. I watch a lot of lives today. Not a lot, but I watched several or parts of them, and I hadn't seen anything really lagging. But I have heard a lot of people in the YouTube group talking about leaving StreamYard and going to OBS, and one of them is an older guy who I wouldn't think would want to take that challenge on, who streams quite a bit, which makes me kind of want to look into it because, I mean, I'm pretty tech savvy, believe it or not, even though I fumble a lot. So, Kyle, how much sharpening you got on your plate?
Bunch. I'm gonna be swamped for a little bit.
Well, let me know when you send that knife to Terry. You, me, and Shane need to jump on a quick call or a quick private WebEx.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah,
I talked to Shane about it, and yeah, we can get together and figure all that stuff out.
Just to make it smooth and to make it consistent, right? I want him to be comfortable with it so that it's realistic. Under promise, over deliver.
Just streamline the process for sure. I've got all of his knives in to do. I'm hopefully going to try to get most of those done this weekend so I can get them out at the beginning-ish of the week. And then I've got, I think, 2 more decent size orders coming in. Just waiting for one to show up and one tracking for another one. So yeah, I'll be busy for the next couple weeks.
That's good. Todd said it was happening in all the ones he was watching. Then it's got to be a YouTube thing, I would think. And
Todd,
maybe if there was an Aussie funeral, maybe that loaded up YouTube servers.
Could be.
I mean, that's the type of event that's so. Yes, anybody, and Terry, tomorrow at 2:30, all you have to do is stop by and put in the word, the secret word. Then you can leave. You do not have to be present in the stream. You just have to pop in. Every Saturday at 2:30, all members stop in.
2:30 Central.
Yep, 2:30 Central. I'm sorry. And that's just because Ron has moved his to 3:00, and he's a member, and I want him to be able to come in and drop a comment. So yeah, we'll be doing that tomorrow. I almost forget. I've got it set on my watch to remind me. And I do set them up. I usually set those up on Thursday. I think I did good. And I think I have next week's even Tuesday late night. And one of these days, maybe we'll stop that one because it's kind of late. And I'll stick to just doing one a week in the members. I enjoy it now. You guys seem to hang around, so that makes it worthwhile.
Or even just shift it back an hour potentially, so that way it's not quite so late.
The only reason
there's not a lot of crossover.
There's no crossover. There's zero.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, and that would be, I could do it at 9:00, for all practical purposes. And maybe we do that because it's a fun time. I guess I'm one of the few that like to stay up late because the last few nights, and for example, tomorrow morning's video is this knife. And I decided that right before this live started. So it hadn't been filmed. I've never written a script for a knife. I've sometimes written down blade steels if I don't know them, like a couple of notes with bullet points, but I never write scripts. So after said Stevie and after my Taco Bell run, I will make a video, upload it, and have it go live. And I still have no idea what will be Sunday's video. If I was not so lazy, I should only do collection videos, like 10 of this, 7 of that. They always get thousands of views. And then, others get hundreds, 1 or 2.
2 things. 1, Todd, did you hear me earlier to hit me up after the stream? I need to chat with you. And 2, and you're not in trouble. 2, Kathleen, did my answer suffice earlier when you were asking about sharpening different grits?
I'm glad you keep up with this stuff.
Yeah, I try.
That's even more interesting that it would not affect mobile, but it would affect. Seems like it'd be just the opposite. I don't know how it works when you get to those levels. I just know that Ryan Mills spent months putting in a fire system in an Amazon data warehouse that was evidently huge, scary huge. To think of the data and the cooling that's needed to run all those servers.
Yep.
But Amazon's kind of, I know it's evil maybe, but it's convenient. I got my mom using it instead of going to Walmart so much. I think it's 6.5 dozen the other.
I mean, there's not a big price difference in there. I mean, it is a convenience thing, and it's not about quality because unfortunately, before you used to be able to get everything of the same quality. Now it's like you go in there and look for something, and there'll be 12 different versions of it, all different names, all from some,
they look exactly the same, but they're all from some different
Chinese
unpronounceable
manufacturer.
name.
Yeah.
But
And
the good thing about Amazon is you can send that shit back.
yeah, but that tells you how much money they're making off of it, that they don't need it. I mean,
Kathleen, mine closes at 1, and I use the app now, and I make sure that they're there. I always make a phone call before I go. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Kyle. Go ahead.
That's strange. I think mine closes at 3 on the weekends.
I'm sure it depends on the type of business they usually get, right?
It could be. I don't know.
They are, because if you guys think about it, AI is relying on all the data in all those servers in one way or another. Now, it might not be, I don't know how it's synthesizing it, but that's where it's analyzing. Like if you want to, I don't know what app makes those little baby things. And I know people get tired of me sending them, but that shit's coming from data that's stored.
Oh no. Shane's jitterbug is messed up.
Oh no, but I hope Shane got ready for the party tomorrow, and I hope the weather's nice for you guys.
That was part of the party was tonight.
Hey Shane, let me pull my other screen up.
I did call you back, by the way, Shane.
So I took my time. Now keep in mind, I've run this through a lot of shit, so I don't get. Look at that edge, buddy. Watch this. Watch this. Fuck it up. But it is super. I mean, it sharpened that second time because I took my time with it. And I did what Kyle said with my stones and used that little mixture, kept them just kind of moist. I don't want to drop it on my finger again. Because, guys, that didn't stop bleeding. It landed right there when I dropped it Tuesday night. And it was a not deep cut, but it was right there where you've got just a lot of capillaries. And I bled like a stuck pig. I sent Ryan and Shane pictures where I had a piece of paper towel that I'd kind of folded up into eighths, like a gauze bandage, and wrapped it around before I'd put glue on it just to try to get it to stop bleeding. And that thing was so caked and soaked with blood, I started to get lightheaded. I was losing so much blood. So it definitely works on people.
I get, just the nature of what I'm doing. I'll get usually one every 3-4 weeks. I'll get a decent one, not bad, but like, I'll get nicked by something. And the most recent one.
I'm sorry to hear that, Rick. We're all sending love, brother.
Condolences, buddy.
All sending condolences. I'm sorry, Kyle. I just saw a lot of people saying condolences, and I had to.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was talking to Shane on the phone the other night, and the most recent cut I got wasn't even bad, but it hurts like a son of a gun. I was getting groceries out of the back of the car, and there was a watermelon in there. I went to grab it, and it rolled backwards, and there was a box in there that had an appliance, but it was open at the top. Well, the watermelon rolled back. I went to grab it, and my finger stuck. The watermelon pinched it on that cardboard and just sliced it right in the back of my knuckle.
A paper cut?
On cardboard.
Ah,
Cardboard
that's what I saw.
Yeah, they're the worst, man.
I was just going before I made myself small. I didn't know if Shane was still in here, but isn't that sick? I mean, it's only got one purpose, dude.
Yeah, I'd much rather be cut by a knife.
Huh?
I'd much rather be cut by a knife than cardboard.
Yeah, that one's thick though, man. That's not for cutting. I don't know what you'd cut with a 60-degree edge.
Is that edge all the way down to the bevel?
No, it goes to right.
No, I meant on the actual bevel. Is it sharpened to the top?
Yes.
The bevel?
The top is sharpened to right. See where my thumb stops?
No. I meant, so like, if you look at the bevel, like on mine right here.
What?
Is it sharpened all the way from the top of the bevel to the apex, or is it only like halfway?
No, it's sharpened all the way to the apex.
Okay. Because he was showing that model off, that kind of like chisel model off. on stream a couple weeks ago.
Do you watch the Sunday morning streams? I really like them.
Occasionally I'll lurk. But he was showing one of them, and the edge bevel was only like halfway up. I was confused. I was like, I didn't know what the purpose of that was.
No, it's just 30 per side. So it's 60 inclusive.
Right.
So, I mean, that's all it's good for. Then you got something like this very slicey. Warthog.
Right.
It's got like a lot of belly and it's slicey all the way to the tip. But it's also still very pokey stabby.
Yeah, it was just strange that the scratch pattern was only like halfway up the bevel.
I wonder if that was because he's got I know it. I bet you that was an MR1. I've got one was a like when you hold it, did it look like it had a drop point that wasn't sharp? It looked sharpened, but it wasn't. And then the top part of the spine was sharpened. It's designed to be held in the pakal.
No, it was that Warncliffe looking one that had like the chisel on the end.
All right, let me grab it. I've got that one. Right.
I don't know model names. So everyone's Friday going. Any exciting plans for the weekend?
So are you talking about this little guy?
Let me see the blade. Yes.
All right. So that is the one I'm holding. I can cut shit with. It's apexed. Or maybe. So what was he saying about it? Because maybe
he was just showing off. So like if you look at the bevel, you can see how wide that is.
Right. It's 60 conclusive because it says all over their stuff.
Right. But the actual scratch pattern was only like the last 16th of an inch. It had like a micro bevel on it. So it wasn't sharpened all the way up to the top. It was very strange.
Which would make it more rippy? I mean, what would be the advantage of that?
No, that'd be making it to be more stronger, which I don't understand why you go 30 and then do a micro bevel on it. You'd go, if you did that, you'd do something more like 20 with a micro bevel on it.
A lot of this stuff comes from small little contracts, and they're not necessarily, because this one, I mean, dude, that's got a secondary bevel. You can see it right there. See it?
Oh, yeah.
But it's so thick that you wouldn't want to ever cut cardboard or anything. And then the one that I almost sliced my finger off with is that one right there.
Right.
And this is not sharp. It could be sharpened, but it's not. This is designed to be held like that.
Let me
and
see.
That was a recommend. It was requested by the Marine Reconnaissance Swimming Team. It's called the MR1. But it's an interesting concept for sure. But no, you might be right. I don't think that little and I love the size of this knife. The way that they talk about it on their website is it's kind of just a close combat weapon, just designed to buy you space so that you can get your primary defense mechanism out.
All right. So what I'm basically saying is, if you look at that is the. Can you see that very well?
Let me make you big. Hold on. Let me get my stuff not big. That was not what I wanted to do.
Okay. So if I'm horrible at drawing, forgive that. But say that is the bevel, okay? That's not the knife. That's just the bevel where we're saying 30 degrees inclusive. Typically the scratch pattern would go from top to bottom, right? Well, that one was only the one he was showing was only like the bottom
Oh, the only bottom part of it.
quarter. So it had a micro bevel. It was apex only at the bottom.
I need to look at it under my loop because that's a good point.
Which
I'd
is
almost
strange.
have to,
The only reason you do micro bevels is to strengthen it. And that doesn't make sense why you would go, to me, why you would go so thick on the actual bevel at 30 and then put a micro bevel on it.
Todd, that little DP1, that's a tiny knife. They need to do an extended handle for it. Is really thin stock. And the Warthog, he has a few knives in thinner stock, but most of them are 100% tactical, 100% thrusters, for lack of a better term. They make this knife. I didn't find it as intimidating, but they make that in a Warncliffe too. That's got a rounded blade or rounded spine that's sharp.
They
Yeah, the
definitely are,
DP1's a cute little knife.
they definitely are thicker for sure. The one that actually isn't as bad as some of the other ones I've seen was the second version of Bob DeMarco's. They definitely thinned that out compared to his first model.
Let me go to their page because I'm not sure of which one. I know there are a lot of. I'll tell you, a great knife is the Warren EDC. I don't have it over here with me, but it's Melissa Backwood's collaboration. And what's genius about it is they took the small Piranha, which is a very popular knife of theirs, and they used that same blank size and changed the blade. And they offer an extended handle. Let's go here to this.
That's a good looking knife, Stevie.
And then I always go to all knives and it shows the wall of knives. So do you know this is a great knife? Do you know which one, if you see it, would be Bob's? This is a very good knife, but I'll show you one better for EDC.
I
That's
don't know all his
Jared's.
model names.
I'm just looking for one I didn't recognize before. Mercenary, maybe, I don't know. It'll say, let's see if it's this one. It'll say it's Bob DeMarco collaboration. If it is, that looks like something different.
No, it was more
Tactical, like fighter. I know that's his game.
it was yeah, I want to say it was, go back up. I think Agent maybe.
Oh, he did the Agent's a whole grip series. They do the Agent in a lot of blade styles. See, it's got this. Let's look. It's that long, narrow grip that's really easy to handle.
I don't know, but I remember the first one they showed that he was showing on his channel. It was super crazy thick, and then the second one, you could definitely tell that they had done a lot more grinding on, because you could tell in the plunge grind how much thinner the blade stock was. The final.
Well, I mean, because all they have to really do is set that CNC up, right? Agent 01. Yep, this is the inspired by the Loveless double-edged fighter. So it looks like Bob had a lot to say in this blade. Is that what you're talking about? Can you see it, Kyle?
Yeah, I think that is it. But if you look at the plunge, okay, you see the height difference there between where the actual finish grind is and then the flat for the ricasso.
Yeah.
That is definitely deeper than what it used to be. It used to be much narrower there, which tells you they ground less and it was super thick behind the edge.
Yeah. You're exactly right. The agent handle, I don't have one up here, but it's very unique because it is thin, but they're longer knives. When I say longer, longer than what I want to say it's.
Because I even asked Bob about it. He definitely said, yeah, they decided to thin it out because it was too thick.
It's a cool knife. I like Tim's wall of freedom he stands in front of on YouTube. How do I close this out without? I was going to see what the size was on this. I think it's like, yeah, 7 3/4 inches. But they've got an Agent 1. I've got the Agent 2 and the Agent 3. And the Agent 2 is a Warncliffe, and it's got the same blade shape as Melissa Backwood's, the Warren EDC. But that handle is identical to Bob's. And then they've got the Agent 03, the Agent 04, 05, all with a little bit different blades. But for EDC, I think all in all, the Raider, one of y'all won one of these, is probably the best little EDC knife. Big enough, but not too big. And again, all of them are made not to slice stuff. Yeah, is that what you're talking about where that little grind was? We just passed it. I could see it there in that picture.
Yeah. But the one like I said, the one he showed on camera was strange.
Yeah, and they pivot quite quickly. I'll tell you what I've got coming back to me is TRM had me send in my Bulldog to get the upgraded blade. Have you seen that? It launched today on their site. They're probably gone.
Yeah. And I'm not. I know.
I know you hate bar locks.
Well, no, I was just going to say I know that people love TKs. I'm just not a fan. But
have you?
They're very popular. Not owned one. I've held some though. But I'm glad that people like them. I'm glad that they're USA made.
Yeah, I mean, for a thin, slicey, well-made knife. I mean, they did their story. I'm trying to get them to come on and tell their story because they've been in the knife industry forever. But this is a knife for 2 1/4 in Magna Cut with a new blade hole. It is a bar lock, but it's the river lock, which is good. You can swap scales. You can choose.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same about TRM. I respect them as a company. I'm glad they're USA made. I'm glad they're putting out good product. It's just not for me.
None of their designs speak to you. That's understandable. Because again, for me, and again, we're totally different. They're my by far favorite knife to carry, favorite knife company, and that was before I ever had a channel and they supported me. I think it's cool that they sell naked knives and that you can swap scales with just using these two. You don't have to take the pivot off to swap the scales out. You can buy.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I was just saying you can buy a naked Atom for like $200 and then buy whatever scales you want for 40 or 60 or go crazy with titanium. But what's bad is once I gave away probably, I don't know, $300 worth of my card of nice scales because I'd done like the girls used to do in high school. And this is going to be a reference before most of y'all will know. They used to buy these Papagallo belts. There were these belts all the high school girls would wear, and they'd have a buckle, and then the belt would be different colors, and they all bought them and collected them. Well, anyway, I did that with scales with my TRMs until I got a titanium set for each one of them. The only one I don't have titanium for that you can't swap out is the Shadow. But I just think it's a great knife. I love those knives. But not everybody does.
No, I think they're definitely they got a market share. They're good. So
it's small. I met with I sat down with Kate, my buddy who has the Knives and More here, and with Marianne and at Blade Show to go through the dealer program because I want them to be a dealer here in Huntsville. And I learned a lot about the brick and mortar knife business. TRM has a certain margin that them being a small company, they're just now went to dealers and they're with River's Edge and DLT. But they've got a percentage that they're comfortable and able to offer a dealer. And unfortunately, it's about 10 percentage points away from what Tate was telling me. They usually require to have it be worth bringing in the store. And I said, well, what do you mean? Because the other thing that TRM said is, you can pick out 10, 5, 20 knives. And if for some reason they don't sell, you can send them back to us. Yeah, no big deal. So to me, it sounded like a win-win. And then when you listen to Tate break it down, when you think of a knife store, brick and mortar, you've got space under glass. And each space under the glass has to make sense for it to be a profitable knife store. It doesn't matter the price of the knife in there. They've got $1,500 Microtech Marfione Selects, and they've got $25 Cobra Tech or whatever. But each slot makes sense. And one of the things that he does that's been very successful for him is he buys a lot of estate slip joints that are in excellent condition, usually with boxes. So they weren't able to bring TRM in, which sucks, or they haven't been yet. I'm still kind of working them. But it's the same thing with ABW, with American Blade Works. Online stores, it's easier for them to take somebody in at a lower margin. Brick and mortars.
Yes, I agree with that. But the issue, I guess, I see in that philosophy is, no, I understand where Tate's coming from and their margin, what they need to make. But when a company like TRM offers you low to no MOQ and offers you basically money back or product back guarantee, that is a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer to make for low margins because it's not taking up that much space on low MOQs. And
I said the same thing, but space, what we consider a low space, can be a Marfione Select that has, I can only imagine $600 in it.
Okay, so what I'm saying is if they brought in 10 knives, okay,
and they had one up, or they had I can see that. So,
I'm just saying they bring in 10 knives and it's 10% less. That's less than $200 across the board, roughly, that they're going to make difference in those knives.
I know.
And if they're willing to sell with zero repercussions of they can get the knives back, like that doesn't compute.
I know, and I'm just telling you, it's when he sat there and talked to me about it. Now, I've not talked to John, the guy that owns 80% of it, but Tate made me see that those small margins, and they have a big walk-in business where you would think it would make sense, but he was like, I love them. He carries a Neutron. He knows them. He's very aware of them. He's a fan, but it just does not work for their store. Not because it's not desirable, but they've been in business, dude, since 83, 84. I mean, Tate hadn't been there that long because he's a younger man, but he's been a knife guy who bought into it. He used to work and was a manager at St. Nick's Knives before they moved everything back to Athens.
Financially, that doesn't make any sense, though, because they have zero.
But that's all they're looking at is financially. And he broke it down.
They have zero liability in it.
The liability is the space that can't be put in for, and 30 is the low side. So most of those Bitchmades, they're a Bitchmade premium select dealer, which is the top tier dealer. They are a huge Microtech. I forget how they tier them, but they carry one of almost every Microtech at least they have to have in stock. They're a huge Spyderco dealer. And then a lot of their profitable knives are these random cases and shit like that, because that's what people come in to buy. So they have to look at, to me, it would be a no-brainer if I was Tate to keep it in my drawer and just show it to people. I see what you're saying. They just have, they've always operated that way, and it's always been come up, winners for them.
But if you look at the business model, so they're not rotating their stock so fast that they have to have the most profitable knife in there because they're sitting on knives for a while at some point. They're not sitting there bringing all the knives in, selling them in 2 weeks and having to order more, right?
Right.
So they have that flexibility to where they could say, hey, I could bring something in. It's not going to maybe make as much margin, but
that's exactly what they told me. That's exactly what Tate was telling us, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, to a point, I get that, but that's only if you were not turning them over. If you're just sitting on them waiting for them to sell, then yes.
No, if you're turning over a 20% margin knife when you could be turning over the same amount of time a 40% margin knife, you're not maximizing your shelf space. I think is the way brick and mortars have been forced to look at, because Tate says this isn't new, because he felt the same way when I was taking him over to meet Michael Martin, because he goes to Blade Show every year, and it's not that he doesn't love the knives and buy the knives. He just can't, because of the way that I think most brick and mortars are set up. It doesn't make sense. And TRM, Marianne acknowledged that stepping forward, because Tate brought that up at the beginning. Well, that could be a problem. And she goes, oh, I know.
But what I was getting at was, it's not so much that it's apples to apples. So I'm not saying that the one that makes 40% is going to sell as fast as the one that's going to make 20%. You have to bring in what's going to sell the fastest, and you want your turnover rate to be better. The fact that if you have, I don't want to phrase it, if you have well, let's just do two things. Do we have time? Actually,
we got time.
Well, we got about 10 minutes. So knife A and knife B. Okay. This one makes 30%. This one makes 20%. But if supply and demand, the demand's higher for this one and it's going to sell faster, I'd rather take 20%, especially with zero overhead on it, because I can send it back. So that's zero liability. Then sit on this one for longer and make 30%, because that one has zero liability for one. And I can sell three of these for every two of these I sell. So I'm making more money in the long run.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, dude. And for me, I would think that you could have, it doesn't take much space to set an Atom on its side right over there where they keep a lot of their trade-ins, or they've got a couple of their, Medfords that they buy.
So
I get it. But at the same time, I think a big part of their business, like the other day, they had one trader bring in 7 Chris Reeves. John bought one of the Umnenzons, the owner. Another Umnenzon was up for sale. I tried to sell it the next day to my buddy A to Z, and it had been bought that morning. And they've got 5 small Sabins at 31. So they've got to keep space out, or space in their stores, for a lot of that resale merchandise. I mean, again, I get it. And I'm not through talking with them about it, because I think North Alabama, it would not only benefit TRM, it'd benefit North Alabama. It doesn't really benefit TRM, because if people find out about TRM from me or somebody else, they can just go to TRM or go to River's Edge Cutlery right now and buy one.
Right. I mean, so the whole dilemma between going direct to consumer versus going wholesale. I had this conversation with a maker recently, because I was working with him, helping him figure that out. And because I've got, with the retail experience, I was running a pretty large pro shop, and the key to retail is turnover rate, especially on products like this, where the hype is what's new and then it fades out. So I'd rather sell something fast, make a smaller margin on it, than sit on something for 6 months and then it becomes less desirable, just trying to make that extra 10%. Doesn't make any sense. I want that turnover rate to be constant, so I'm always having fresh new product to be able to sell. The only way that margins make a difference is if you can get in at a better price point. You can have the room to put it on sale when it does hit that 90-day mark or 120-day mark, and you're still making money. So for them to go direct to consumer, they're making way more money than they ever would by doing a wholesale deal with any company.
Correct. Yep.
So for them to outsource that, it's more of a benefit, and typically that is it's a market to be a guaranteed sale. So like if I were advising TRM, I'd say absolutely don't do returns, because that should be only, you should only use that for guaranteed income, guaranteed sales, because you're making less profit off of it. But them offering that means that they really don't need to even be offering it to anybody, because they can make more money direct to consumer
and sell them all out. I agree.
Right. So, but the fact of that, of the shop looking at it that way, the shop should, in my opinion, should take a look at, if that's the case and they're wanted, why would I not want to have that opportunity with zero liability? Because that's not taking anything off their plate.
Yeah, I need to learn more, and I'll report back.
And again, I'm not calling anyone out for that.
No, I'm not either. I'm just,
when it comes to retail, you have to turn over sales, because you can't let things just sit on the shelves.
I think the problem is they're turning over sales regardless. In their mind, however their performance set up, they're doing exceptionally well. What do y'all know about Machine Wise?
They're okay. I
like the frame lock. I've only seen them in button locks before.
Yeah, I had a button lock in, and I was not impressed with it at all. I've heard good things about the Mojave, but I think it's a Sonora is the button lock, I think.
Yeah, this is a Sonora right next to it. It's about.
Yeah, I didn't think anything. I was not impressed at all, especially for the price point. Do I think the company itself is cool and that they're being made here? Yeah, I like the idea of it. I just was not impressed with the fit and finish, especially for that kind of money.
Let's see what we got here. I like browsing new shit at River's Edge at DLT. And I really like my Microtech.
Sorry to go into rant with that, Javon.
Huh?
So sorry to go into rant with that, but
you're not, that's good, dude. You're all good.
I like to offer up some experience on things if I've got it on certain topics. And I think that would be beneficial business wise for them to take a look at. So
I totally agree. And I will, believe me, there's somebody that, all right, there's somebody that listens to some things I say, but not everything. I told you about the YouTuber that came through there, right?
Yep.
Okay. So see this knife that's been out for a while? This is a new version of it because their sheath was totally shitty. Everybody complained about the sheath. They've redone the sheath, and it's a combination of leather and Kydex. What do you think about something like that? I think the Kydex is only at the top.
I think it's cool. I'm not a Benchmade person. I mean, you're getting it at that point, you're getting into custom made prices.
Yep.
And I think that's a harder.
Interesting segue, because I agree with you. And I asked John the other day when I was standing, this was last week, Monday, and we were looking at bailouts. We were looking at something. And I said, my problem has always been Benchmade. And what I hear in the community is the prices aren't justified. I go, how do you justify the prices? Because you sell more Benchmade than anything else. He goes, it's easy. He goes, you buy it once and you're done. He goes, I've had people send in knives. Now he sends them in. So I've also heard from like Marco Scam and other people that had a bad experience with a broken blade where Benchmade wanted him to pay for the blade.
They charge
now.
They charge now for blades.
After a certain amount of time, if you work with a premium or whatever kind of deal, what's he called? He's had luck sending knives in for people recently, 9-10 years later, that have been replaced. If they don't have the knife in stock anymore, they'll say what's the MAP price, which is a price on their website. That knife sold for this much, whatever their website listed it as. We'll give you that towards a new Benchmade. So there is some, according to John, now this could just be a sales pitch, but he says he's seen it happen time and time again, that their warranty over time, if you're going to keep the knife, is worth it.
Well, so the one thing that I will say that I like the fact that they're willing to stand behind their products, but I had heard the opposite as far as they were charging now for blade problems and whether or not like you had issues with something.
You abused it.
And it used to be an old selling point of the sharpening, but their sharpening jobs are horrible.
Yeah, they're the place somebody starts at Benchmade.
And you're paying for shipping as well too. So it's not a cost added to it. As far as a benefit, the Um, and for that thing is no one that's buying a Benchmade is only buying one knife either. So it's not a buy once and you're done.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm just saying that's maybe their warranty's better than others. Has anybody heard of Core Edge USA? This out the front company? I haven't, and it's interesting to me because they're not. I don't know how they position themselves in the market. Where'd it go?
I'm not familiar with that name.
Me neither. They're USA made. They're as expensive as a Microtech. More expensive than a Shift. MagnaCut, aluminum. I don't, just not telling me anything special. But it's amazing to me how many new knives come into the market, not just imports, but I'm seeing, because I'm not currently buying knives, so I'm not always on sites. I'll get on a site maybe once a week and I see a brand that I've not seen before, a USA made brand. These are the rifles. This is a clip point of that sheep's foot I've got. These are really good camp knives, harder use knives.
So back to that fixed blade you're talking about, the Benchmade fixed blade. I don't have a problem with the blade itself. I just think that you're blending the lines of the territory where you could get a much better custom knife for around the same price point.
Absolutely.
In some cases cheaper, some cases more, but you're in that realm where it can't compete as far as performance or quality. It may be more consistent than a custom, but that's not what you're paying for the custom.
Right. But the minority of knife buyers are even exploring custom because they're not A, aware of it, and B, necessarily as comfortable with it. So when you compare Benchmade's prices with Axial's less, but not by a ton. Lynch Northwest, right around the same price. Now it's a better knife, I think the Lynch Northwest is. But
right. But okay, so let's take a step back and look at it. Now, do I think the price is fair? Yeah, I don't think it's crazy expensive, but I'm just saying you can get other options that are better for that price point. I'm not saying it's a bad price. I'm not going to badmouth them for that.
No.
Especially when you look at the insane amount of money that Vero wanted for his fixed blades, and it's a Chinese-made knife.
I bought one,
and I know what he's making on them.
I know, and I bought one,
and that's I can't say what I want to say, but that is just it's wild that they think that they can get away with that price point.
But they sell out, so the market
they were. They're not as much anymore. But so here's one that's completely the opposite take of that. So I saw a U.S. manufacturer release a knife recently that I couldn't believe how cheap it was for what they were saying the material was. Granted, their steel typically is not good, but it was still the point of, and the handles were very basic, very plain, everything else. But Microtech dropped some kitchen knives recently at a very reasonable price point. And for what they were, I mean, you can get into customs for a little bit more than that. But I mean, they were in like the $150 range.
They were really marketing those hard at Blade Show.
I was shocked to see that them come out at that low of a price point. I figured that they would be higher than that.
Because they're titanium handled knives, right?
No, they were G10. They were just basic.
Okay.
Just basic kitchen knives. So again, it's not a cheap knife, but for the materials.
And Edgy, I was not knocking custom because custom's totally different. I think it's our job as people who talk to people about knives to talk about custom exists and why custom is always a better way to, if you've got the time to get a better blade. I'm sorry, Kyle.
No, I just going to say for being a USA manufacturer and the materials that they are using, I was shocked to see that price point. Granted, I've never, to this point, I'm not saying all of them, but I've not had a good experience with M390 MK. I think it's very poorly done. other people have said it's okay. So maybe it's just the few experiences I've had with it. So I'm not going to sit there and say it's only because I've not tested a huge sample size. I've had probably a dozen or less. So I don't want to say the whole line's crap, but from what I've experienced, it was not good.
Most of the people using them aren't using them to where they need to be sharpened in all truth, right? I mean,
but,
I'm not.
but a kitchen knife is designed to be used.
Correct.
Constantly.
Totally different story.
So it, to me, needs to stand up, and I've not. I was just
Is that
kind
the
of
blade
surprised.
steel they chose for their kitchen knives?
Yeah. It's because
Makes you wonder if they just bought a shitload of it and they're having to use it up on everything.
Of course. It's just, and they're trying to use that as a marketing ploy, which it has zero marketing to it because no one cares that it says MK because it's not different, really.
Well, Anthony Marfione, not to sue me, allegedly is such an egomaniac. He probably thinks there's value there. Ron, don't forget 2:30 tomorrow before you're live at 3. Stop in and drop in the magic word.
Well, he's also the one that ran
Felt
off
like
his
lead,
son.
really? Because my stitch, and I'm not sharpened either one of them, but from the factory, my out the front and my stitch are by far the sharpest factory knives. Now, I don't know how long they'll cut. I've never tried to sharpen one. I've never needed to. But that means that's not good if it feels like lead.
Yeah, they were not impressive. Hey, we got about 10 minutes. So
We'll bail out. We'll give people time so I can
well,
go to
I know
Taco
you
Bell.
wanted to get a pizza, and they're going to go in about 10, 15 minutes or 10 minutes. So
All right, guys, do me a favor. Kyle, you got anything to part? I'm always glad you're here and dropping knowledge. You got anything to share?
no, I think that covers it, and hopefully, if anyone had any questions, you can always reach out to me. But I hope I answered everything in chat that people were asking about. So
Hey, if any of y'all in chat are wrestling with sharpening issues, I'm not trying to put just questions. Kyle has helped me. I know it's frustrating to him, and I'm sure he's shuddering. I'm saying this, thinking of other people like me. But come and ask him a question. You know, if you're wrestling with something that doesn't seem like you should be wrestling with. So I really think I made a breakthrough last night, and it was all just me slowing down and paying attention to what I was doing the things I should have been doing all along.
yeah, John, you say that because there were 2 people I've had in the last week to 10 days that have reached out and wanted more advice, and it was not that they weren't comfortable asking in chat, but they wanted to have more in-depth conversation. And they kept apologizing. I'm like, no, my thing is, if someone's willing to learn and they reach out, I'm willing to spend as much time with you to get to the point where you're comfortable as possible because you're showing effort to care and to learn. I'm not going to turn that away from someone.
Dude, that's so refreshing to hear because that's the same thing that Jacob, and he'd been drinking, but Jacob said from Very Good Knife Company when we were talking about Shane and, you know, if he ever called, would you be willing to help me? He goes, look, man, it took me 10 years to learn, 11 years of making mistakes. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. My job is, and I guess he's part of the Knife Guild. If I don't pass the craft on along my path, I'm doing a disservice. So he can call me anytime and I'll try to help him avoid the mistakes that I've made over. You know, that's the best I can do. But to have that attitude is huge. And you know, you can always use StreamYard if you need to sit down with somebody. And you know how to make it private. But guys, have a great night. Reach out. You got great resources for leather work. You got great knife makers around you. You've got, I mean, the information's there. Take advantage of it. Enjoy the night. Go over to said faction. I'm going to get a pizza. I love you all. Peace.
Later.
Now it went out because we only had a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna want to make it. Are you high on cigarettes?
Let's watch two wrongs weirdness.